Good times. These are the good times. Leave your cares behind. These are the good times.
Wait a minute. I'd like to propose a toast to my family. Someday soon, you're gonna have families of your own. And if you're lucky, you'll remember the little moments. Like this. That were good. Cheers.
Hello, this is Austin Carter, and you're listening to the Good Times right now.
All my life I never stopped to worry about a thing. Open up and shout it out, never try to sing. Wondering if I've done it wrong. Will this depression last for long? Won't you tell me where have all the good times gone?
Hey, buddies. This is Good Times with Steve Simeone. I'm hanging out with my pal Lee Syatt. Lee, so excited. We finally have Bert the Machine Kreischer on this week.
I'm just so I haven't heard it yet. I'm just excited because both of you are just so like it's as soon as you walk into a room you just seem happy, you're smiling.
Dude, he's the best. He let me come on his podcast 2 years ago to promote my first CD. And then now that the new CD's out, guys, anybody that bought What's Up Nerds, thank you very much. If you enjoyed it, please leave a nice review on iTunes. Same goes for the podcast. And then I do have the physical copies of the CDs that look like pizza. So if you want one of those, just shoot me a message. But Bert was nice enough when I did Remember This to come on his podcast. And I'm like, this dude's awesome. Like, I remember Ren Azizi hanging out with Bert. This has to be like 6, 7, 8 years ago. And he's like, dude, do you know Bert Kreischer? And I'm like, I know who he is, the Machine. And he was like, you guys would really get along. He was like, and whenever I hang out with him, it's just a blessing. He's just so cool. And you know what's crazy? I never heard the Machine. I never heard him tell the Machine story.
Really?
Never. I heard everybody tell me about it.
Right, yeah.
But I never heard him say it.
That's weird because it seems like you guys, and I'm sure you guys are friends now, but it seems like really like in high school or middle school you guys would have been best friends.
We would have been best friends. Yeah, for sure.
Just really like being class clown. Like, were you a class clown? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went through my idiot phase.
Well, yeah, all boys do, I think. You have to go through your phase. But I can't wait to record it in the man cave.
Yep. It was awesome. And it just starts off like, it's just because he starts talking about podcasting and this and that. And it's just, the conversation just goes. And it's so interesting. It gets so cool and real. But then I was like, and I don't know how it weaved in. But then he was like, oh, yeah, I totally remember my first beer. And he talks about the first time he had beer. And he talks about his TV show and his wife and kids, and things get really serious at one point. Man, I just love this guy. I want to hang out with him every day. This is how much I love Bert. I was like, because, we kind of all live near each other. Me, you, Joey, Bert, all of us. I was like, dude, if you ever need a ride to the Comedy Store, just let me know. I'll be your sober driver. Wouldn't that be the best?
That's almost like comedians in cars getting coffee, but it's like your friends and just having like a Capri Sun. That's what I would imagine. Like a Capri Sun
Hilarious.
Or like a Sunny Delight on the way to the Comedy Store.
It's funny because like one of the things I said with Bert, I was like, yeah, I got to stop giving away free ideas on the podcast for ideas for shows and stuff I want to do.
Right.
And I almost did it right now with you. So this is what I want to do. Guys, everybody that's been to awesomesteve.com and using the Amazon link, thank you very much. Everybody that's been to it, Domingo's Italian Deli in Encino, thank you very much. Don Carlos in La Jolla, thank you very much. I'm going to get out of the way. I know we're going to have a lot of new listeners because of the machines here. So let's just sit back, have some laughs, and talk about the good times with Mr. Bert Kreischer.
Once we had an easy ride and always felt the same. Time was on our side and we had everything to gain. Let it be like yesterday.
So there's brand new batteries. Because you know how...
Oh, I get panic about whether or not I'm going to run out of batteries.
Right.
Like it almost makes a podcast unenjoyable.
Right, because
Like-
you have something on your subconscious going...
The whole fucking time. It's one of the things that I always say this. I guess I don't mean it because I never follow through, or I mean it, but it needs to be so organic. Like I get emails from people, but I always say I wish I had someone to help me. I think it would change the scope of the podcast if there was a guy sitting at my desk running the board.
Yeah.
I think it would. And so that's why I don't do it, and I'm a little bit of a micromanager.
You know what I do?
What?
I do this,
Yeah.
and then I bring the card to Lee. You know the guy that produces Joey's
Yeah.
podcast?
Yeah.
And then Lee does all the grown-up stuff for me.
The grown-up stuff's so easy, though.
Yeah.
It really is. You know what it was? The first few days, or the first year, it took me a solid hour and a half to post a podcast.
Yeah.
It took me, and now it takes me 10 minutes
Really?
to pull the card, plug it in, run it through Levelator is the longest thing it takes. Run it through Levelator, throw it in a GarageBand, read an intro, and then plug it in and then just post it to Libsyn. I can really fly through it now. And so I'm glad I learned it because I think adversely learning that taught me how to edit videos. And then editing videos now, it's even some of my best friends who have a great digital presence just don't know how to edit a video.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
During the whole Tom is fat, Bert is fat war, I would shoot videos in the morning that would inspire me, and then I'd edit them and I'd make sure they were a minute long and put them on Instagram, and it increased my Instagram following by I think about 50,000 people.
Oh my
Goodness. And now when I put a video on that gets 75,000 views, as opposed to in the day it was getting 10,000 views, and that was where it was maxing out at.
That's incredible.
It really is incredible. I got to be honest with you. I'm not certain, but I think the Bert is fat thing might have been the best thing that ever happened to my career.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's
I've been
amazing.
on television 7 years, and the most interest anyone's ever had. I must have done something else at that time. Oh, I had an hour special come out.
Yeah.
And then the Machine video went viral all at the same time. Our special Machine video goes viral. Tom is fat, Bert is fat happens on Rogan the week, literally while the video is still going viral, and it was the best week of my career. Meaning it gave me a bunch of momentum for all of January, which were a couple important dates, but one was the Wilbur.
Oh, in Boston?
Yeah, and you want to... It's so shitty. I mean, I say this hoping my agents and managers never listen to this, but they called me and they were I think after my hour special, they're we need to get you into the Wilbur. We'll do it in January, build the momentum off of the thing.
Yeah.
And we were tracking to do 700 ticket sales, which, and I think any comic will tell you, doing the Wilbur is a stamp on whether or not you can do theaters in this country.
Okay, that's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
So that's what they tell you.
Yeah.
If you sell out the Wilbur, that means you can sell out theaters
Anywhere.
Because Wilbur's 1,200 people.
Yep.
That means you can sell out a 600 seater in Milwaukee.
Yes.
Or you can sell out a 600 seater in Vancouver. And they were I was I don't know, I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it. And they're no, you are. And I was no. I one of the weird things about agents and managers is they don't really have a. I can tell you a lot of people drink Fireball.
Yes.
I can tell you that because I spend the time in the trenches in the bars.
Yes.
I know what shots. I'll tell you the shots people buy. They buy Jameson.
Yep.
And they buy Fireball. Those are the ones people buy.
Isn't it funny how shots come in and out of vogue? They come in and out of fashion.
I remember tequila was a fucking... the majority of my career was tequila shots.
Yeah.
And then Fireball showed up, and everyone was drinking Fireball. Now, my managers, I'm sure, would be yeah, I've heard of Fireball, but they're not drinkers, and they're not in the clubs, so they don't know that if Fireball said, "Hey, Bert, we want to do a tour with you," they'd be I've never heard of you. You're not Jack Daniels or
right. Dice used to call that street level. He's
Yeah.
like, you got to be on street level to know what's
I'm
going on.
street level when it comes to my ticket sales.
Yeah.
Like I am definite street level. Now there is a part that is hidden from the comic. Like no one's calling me and telling me my numbers in Buffalo in 2 weeks. No one's
Right.
sharing that. Mark won't share it because Mark doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to let me know if I'm tracking well.
Right.
That maybe we should change the deal around. If it's sold out already, he's going to be like, maybe we can add a show, and then that's where your benefit comes from. And your agents and managers don't want you to know because they want to keep you in the dark a little bit too, so
Yeah.
that they have some power. They have some, and I say that shitty. I don't mean it like that. I could easily call my agents and my manager goes, "What are my numbers for Buffalo?"
Yes.
But there is like a weird thing. So I don't know where this was going. Anyway,
You were getting built up to the Wilbur and the bird is fat stuff.
And so they're like, listen, well, Wilbur's not going to sell out. This is December, and I go, we still have a fucking month, and they're like, I know, but it's tracking. They can tell you where they're going to sell.
Okay.
And they're like, they're saying they're going to sell 700, and I was like, okay. In my head, I was like, 700 is a good number, and they're like, well, it's still 400 shy of what sold out is, 500 shy of what sold out is, so it's only a half full room, and I was like, and then you have friends that played there, and you're like, hey, what did my friends do? Do my friends sell it out?
Yeah.
And everyone's real sketchy about that. They don't want to tell you what other
Yeah,
people
isn't
sold.
that silly?
I'm like, dude, I can call them,
Yeah.
and go, how did you sell?
Right.
Because I'm gonna and then tell them I'm gonna sell 700.
Yes.
How did you sell? I
Yeah,
want
it's
to
like
know.
podcast numbers.
It's like, yeah, it's like, dude,
What?
there's the one crazy thing that's happening right now is this transparency between comics and what our careers are, and like, I very candidly, I open my fucking deal memos and I share it with my friends.
Yeah.
I go, this is the money I'm making. Is
Yep.
this bad? And sometimes they'll be like, it's better than my money. And then they go, what are your numbers? And we share very candidly because you don't want to ever look like an asshole. You don't want to look like you're greedy. You don't want to look like you're like Ari a long time ago was like,
I love
called me up
him.
and he goes, hey man, you need to get more money in Canada. And I said, by that time I was only doing the Edmonton
with Rick and
comic strip.
Tammy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was all I was doing.
I love Dino up there.
And he was like, I'm doing Calgary and they're saying that your numbers are that you're charging less, so they won't pay me more. And I went, I don't do Calgary. He goes, what? I said, I don't do Calgary. He goes, well then whatever you're doing in Hamilton. I go, I don't do Hamilton. I don't do Winnipeg. I don't do anything. I only do Edmonton. And he was like, that's odd because everyone's using you as the example, saying that you're asking for $3,000 and that's it. And I went, that's not what I get paid.
Yeah.
And he was like, wait, what do you get paid?
Yeah.
So I tell him, and he goes, okay, all right. I go, listen, I know what I sell. I'm imagining you and I sell exactly the same on the road.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain of it. You should be getting at least that. But now you know that's what I got. So good luck.
He's the best.
And then
Ari
he's like-
Shaffir is the patron saint of stand-up comedy.
He's getting a lot of shit online right now
Why?
because of that Joe. Bert is fat, Thomas fat, and he welched on the bed.
I didn't know he did that. I've been off the grid for a week.
And now, well, he's gone. He's getting a lot of shit, and he's gone. I think he's traveling.
He's in the wind. He's like in Vietnam.
Yeah.
He's probably in a jail cell in Southeast Asia somewhere.
and he I really hope he gets arrested for like a hash possession in Thailand.
Oh, Jesus,
And
don't
we
say
and
that.
we have like something to focus on for 6 months where it's free Ari, and we start going over there.
Well, we could just do that. We could just create that, and people wouldn't even know.
Oh man, I would love that. I would love that.
That'd
That
be
would
like
make
a
me so
movie.
happy. But anyway, so
Free Ari.
and then all that shit happens, and then the Wilbur just sells out. Like all the tickets sell, and I was like,
First off, congratulations.
Well,
That's huge.
thank you, but it is. But then you go, what if that like in a weird way,
Okay.
backtracking a tad bit.
Yes.
So there was a point where everyone in my camp, I'll just say across the board,
Yeah.
was like, what the fuck are you doing with this Bert is fat, Thomas fat shit? It's pointless. It's going nowhere. Like, stop, ignore it. You have real work to do. And I was like, this, I think, is going to be bigger than anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
Trust me, I think this is going to be like, first of all, it's fun for me. I was having a lot of fun doing it.
That's the only reason
Yeah.
to do anything.
And I was like,
honestly, dude, we could have been accountants. Me and you could have made a lot of money in sales.
Yeah.
I want to have more fun than that.
I said, I'm having fun with it. It's inspiring me. I am working out. I am losing weight. I am feeling better about myself. Every day I'm posting a video. I'm gaining followers. And I was like, fuck it. I'm not going to do that. And then at one point, someone called my wife and was like, hey, you need to get Bert to fucking drop this. Like he needs to be focusing on.
called your
I have a
wife?
sitcom I should be working on. But I was like, he needs to focus on the sitcom. And Leanne's like, oh, you don't know Bert. But we have a very incestuous. Like my wife is definitely a part of my career. Like,
Awesome.
Like she goes to general meetings, not to like with like networks, but like when my agents and managers have a meeting, my wife goes. She's
That's
like, "Oh, you don't
awesome.
know Bert. This is if he's interested in something, this is what he's going to be doing." Mm-hmm. And then, arguably, this thing is what the fans got interested in. We do 2 days of Rogan, which I can only guess what the numbers of those were.
Oh, millions.
Millions.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's building an
Like
empire.
bigger than, like I'll say, bigger than any television show I could have
Oh,
done.
100%.
Bigger than. How crazy is that? Bigger than any radio show or television show
It's
I
the
could
greatest
find.
thing ever.
Isn't that crazy?
And all of his fans are cool too. On top of it,
And they're fucking cool, and they get it, and they love something like this, where two of the comics they've known for 5 or 6 years,
Yeah.
are really friends and are really breaking balls and are really having fun and are really trying to inspire each other to be better
versions of themselves.
And it's like that. It's everything. It's perfect storm, I think.
Yes, and I think that's the future. I think podcasting's and social media has changed the game.
Dude, my podcast gets bigger numbers than my TV shows ever got.
That's incredible.
I know. I mean, not actually. I should rephrase that. Not the first 2 seasons of Bert to Conquer, but definitely the last seasons of anything I just did. My podcast is bigger,
That's awesome.
and so anyway, so that the Wilbur sells out only because of all this fun shit I was doing, not the fucking business shit.
No, it's
The
all about having
shit.
fun.
And that's the weirdest thing about, like, the one cool thing about podcasting is it's genuinely ours. Like,
Yes.
like no one's got any.
No producer
fingers on it.
notes. Nobody messing it up.
No one. And I am sometimes rude to people in my, like, on my team when they imply that they know something about this at all.
Yeah.
Like I said to someone, we were talking about something, and he was like, "Well, is there any way? I can't say it really without like the whole point is like managers and agents don't get a percentage of your ad sales." And then I was saying, look, not to be disrespectful, but like they have absolutely no idea what goes into a podcast. So like, definitely, if they want to stop by at the end of the night and edit my podcast and post it for me, I'll give them a percentage.
Yeah.
But like, I'm booking it. I'm fucking host. I'm scheduling it. I'm plugging the mics in. I'm running to the store to get new mics if my mic goes short. If I have 4 people running to get another mic,
Yeah.
I'm the one worried about batteries.
Battery, and it's
I'm the one
plugged in.
watching the
Yep.
levels. I'm the one who has to conduct the interview and figure out where the interview is going to go. No, luckily, I think my podcast is a no-brainer. So I don't think come over with any agenda. I mean, I think most podcasts are no-brainers, but like it's not
That's
like
what I
Marin.
think. But honestly, I think that's what people love about it. That's what listeners love about
Yeah,
it.
it's not like Marin and Joe probably have to do some research.
Yeah, because they get like real guests on. I just
Yeah.
like to hang out with my friends and give the gift of my friends to everybody listening. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
100%.
It's like, let's just hang out, buddy.
The one thing we provide is we're like, hey man, we got an insight to some of the coolest people in town.
Absolutely. Because for years, I realized that was my paycheck. When I was starving at the Comedy Store, and it dawned on me, I was at the OR back door. And I was like, oh, this is why I'm here. It's to hang out with the coolest people in the world.
Dude, that is when I first started and I was making $25 a night at the Boston Comedy Club. I was like, yeah, but every night I get a free ticket to see Chappelle,
Yeah.
Attell, Jim Norton, Judah Friedland, like all these great comics, Pete Corielli, Jim Brewer, all these guys would just stop in and do sets.
So cool.
Louis C.K.
And then they become your
Al
friends.
Franken. Yeah. Well, those two didn't, but no, but I'd say I'm friendly with Louis. Like if I ran into him, we'd talk for probably like 5 minutes, and then which is a great fucking
amazing.
It's a great gift. But that is the cool thing about podcasts. So, but my thing is like agents and managers. I mean, I think there are some companies that have figured out how to monetize these agents and managers. Like I took a meeting, I think in my old agency, they were like, so we're gonna blow your mind. We've got you a meeting with Norm Pattis. And I was like, great. I was like, who is he? And he's like, Courtside Media, Podcast One. They're like, he is revolutionizing podcasting. And in my head I was like, what's his podcast?
Yeah.
Because you have to have a podcast to revolutionize podcasts.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. He is starting an advertising company to help monetize podcasts. And I was like, very interesting.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to monetize their podcast.
Yeah.
So we go into the podcast, and the deal they offered was like, we get 50% of your ad sales. And in my head, I was like, right now I'm getting 100% of them.
Yeah.
Like,
Why
why would
is
I
that
give
a
you
deal?
50%?
Yeah, that's
I'm getting
silly.
100%. And then he was like, but we'll, like, it was the things he was saying, and no disrespect to Norm, and this is the early days, so he maybe,
Yes.
I'm sure his views have changed.
Yes.
But he was like, here's the deal. Say you're in Minnesota on the road. You want to do a podcast. You call me up. I got a studio for you right away. You just, bam, they put in the card. They send us the file. We get it uploaded. We post it. And I was like, as opposed to just having the person come to my hotel room, because that's right now what I do. Is
Yeah.
I plug in all my, and I was like, oh, I don't think he's aware that it's become
Technology's
simplified.
changed
yeah,
everything.
And I was like, oh, I have an H4n. And he was like, you don't even need to worry about those. And I was like, huh? I was like, I was so lost, and I was looking at CAA. It was like, this is the deal. I was like, oh no. CAA wants a piece of this. I guarantee you they have a deal. So now I'm giving CAA 10%. I'll give my manager 10% because it came through CAA.
Yeah.
My business manager gets 5%. My lawyer gets 5%.
Oh, my
So now
goodness.
I get 20% of my ad sales? Are you shitting me? Fuck you.
That's crazy.
You're out of your fucking mind if you think that I'm going to do something for 20% of the money. I just won't do
it all.
podcasts. I'll do television.
Yeah.
Ugh, that really kind of upset me, and it's upset a lot of people.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's that business people can recognize that this is like a game changer. Podcasting, all like what we were just talking about. This immediate connection with everybody, and we don't need a huge gatekeeper to make it happen. Technology's flattened it out.
Yeah.
And I think they go, okay, well, this is the next big thing. How do we make money from it? And
It is
that's
the
it.
next
They
big
just
thing.
they
I mean-
just don't have it figured out yet. And I kind of think that's what makes it cool. It's like right now everybody's kind of in it for the love of the game, and it helps us. I think comedians are early adapters because like I don't make advertising money. My podcast is small. My numbers aren't great, but I love the people that listen to it.
Yeah.
And when I go to Edmonton, there'll be 20 people there that weren't going to be there anyway. And then it's not like I expect them to just come to a show. It's like they know me.
Dude.
So I'm like, dude, let's go get it. And we get food.
That's the
And they
fuck-
were like, dude, I brought you this. And like this year at the Comedy Store, they were like, dude, you've got more Christmas presents here than famous comedians.
Dude.
And it's awesome stuff. People get me like 87 Topps baseball cards, Ric Flair pictures.
A guy came down to San Diego this weekend and just knows me.
Yes.
Just knows me. And he brought me a cool hat. He was walking down the street and he saw a cool hat that he wanted, a Padres hat that's really hard to get a hold of.
Yeah.
And he went in and said that they had this size, and they said no. All we have is an 8. And he goes, Bert's an 8. I'll buy it. I'll give it to Bert.
That's awesome.
And I was like, dude, this is the coolest fucking hat I've owned and I'm like, I'm a hat guy.
Yeah, me too.
And he knows that.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey man, I thought you'd enjoy this. And I was like, dude, you'll be seeing this hat everywhere. Like, because when I get a hat, I wear the fuck out of it.
Yeah,
Like-
dude, I got my old school Don Carlos hat right here. I
Yeah.
love hats.
Like, and so, but it is crazy how they know you. That's the one creepy thing. Like,
You'll say something and you'll be like, dude, I have to stop giving away ideas on my podcast. I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to write a movie about this. I want to do, and then people are like, hey, dude, I started working on that idea you were talking about. I was like, oh,
part of me goes, wouldn't it be nice if you just gave away an idea and then the guy was like, hey man, I wrote the idea. Would you like to partner with me? And you're like, fuck yeah.
Yes.
You do all the work. And
you want
then,
to do the grown up stuff? I'm starting to learn that,
yeah, I
like how to like really write scripts, and that
I-
makes me feel good.
the only thing I've learned about in podcasting is not to talk shit about people. Although I just did that pretty aggressively at the beginning of this. Like I'm not talking shit about Norm Pattis.
No.
Everyone knows Norm Pattis's business structure. I'm just, and I think anyone who's working with Norm who isn't Adam Carolla,
Yeah.
or isn't Adam's people.
Yeah.
And Adam's a great fucking guy. I'm not shitting on Adam. I think Adam's a part of Podcast One, but Adam helped create that business paradigm. Look, Adam set up the entire concept of podcasting for us.
Yeah.
In a large portion. I think it was him, Maron, and Rogan
I completely agree.
are the fucking founding fathers of podcasting.
Yes.
And Adam's the guy that said it doesn't have to be in your man cave. It can be a job. You can do this for a living. You can, and I mean, Adam's got his own little fucking, I call it a
got an
pirate
empire,
ship,
right?
but it's like his spot. He's got his fucking warehouse where all his cars are. They do movies out of there. They do everything. I would love that. That is my dream. That is my genuine fucking dream, is to have a office right around the corner, like right in these office buildings or somewhere cool.
Yeah.
And have like 2 young kids who I can call up in the morning and go, hey, can you set up a green screen? I have an idea. Hey, can you set up I got some video I shot last night. Can you edit it up? That's my other problem is I'm really bad at giving notes. That's why I do everything myself. I'm really bad at giving notes. So, but that's my dream. But I'm not shitting on Norm. Everyone knows his business. If you're Stone Cold Steve Austin, I'm not a guy I want to shit on, but I'm saying Stone Cold Steve Austin now has a very successful podcast.
Yeah, it's great.
That wasn't happening with Stone Cold by himself.
Right.
Someone needed to come into Stone Cold and be like, we've got it set up. You don't have to do anything. Just show up and be yourself.
Yeah. You know what, though? I remember years ago, this was literally probably 3 years ago, Gabriel Iglesias went on Stone Cold's podcast, and he did it at his house.
Really?
Yeah. Here's the thing. And I was so impressed with, like, sometimes it's difficult if I love somebody's art for me to be objective about the person. I admit that about me. Because I love Stone Cold's, like,
okay.
love him.
I love Stone Cold Steve Austin in a way that's unhealthy. Like,
yes,
like,
dude. So he was more like, Gabe's like, do you want to come to Stone Cold's house? I was like, yes.
You went with him?
Yes. That's how cool Gabriel is. And Stone Cold had his H4N. Dude, he had literally pages of handwritten notes on Gabe's career. He did all of his...
serious?
Dead serious.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to retract any statement I said about Steve Stone Cold Austin.
Dude, it was incredible.
I am so inaccurate. That's the problem with me also, is I say things not knowing what the fuck I'm talking about. So ignore everything I just said this whole podcast. Stone Cold Steve Austin had notes on his career?
Notes. And the best questions. He was just so cool.
God dang it.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't... Like, I asked Gabe to be on my podcast, and he said no. And I think he was
just so busy.
I think it first of all, it came from a third party.
Yep.
And he said yes to the third party, and then replied back. He's like, I don't have time, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel bad asking anybody for stuff. Like,
I feel horrible. I don't feel bad asking Gabe because I don't really know him. I've only met him a couple times.
He seems
like a really sweet guy.
He is.
Everything, and so I don't have a problem asking someone like that, oddly enough. But I would have a problem like I asked Rogan one time, and he was like way too busy, and I was like, cool. Yeah. And then I'm sure I should have asked him again, but I'm just like, you know what?
Yeah. I feel the same way about Joe. Like, he's so cool.
I asked Brewer one time, and Brewer was like, I'm super busy. I was like, good. Not that I'm not saying I'll never ask you again, but it's just, I appreciate that you said no. I'm never going to put you in that situation again.
I don't want to, like, I had asked Joe to help with one of my charity shows, because he was like, hey, whenever, and I was like, well, we're going to be doing one, and he was like, okay. And then I felt bad because, like, I couldn't get in touch with him, and then somebody else did. And I'm like, just stop. I don't, like, if he can do it, great. If not,
that's
like,
the other thing, is that sometimes you, like,
I hate asking. I never want to make people feel bad.
I hate asking, and then I go, and then other people go, well, don't worry. I'll just, like, a manager or agent go, I'll just reach out to him. I go, no. Do not do that. Don't ever, like, I had someone reach out to Doug Benson one time.
Yeah.
And Doug Benson called me. He was like, please don't ever give my number to any of those fucking people. And I was like, I did not.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? I was like, I never gave your number to anyone. They just reached out. I don't know how they got your number, but it was not me. I don't give fucking numbers out.
Yeah.
I don't give anyone's number out to anyone.
No, neither do I.
The other day, I did Dr. Drew and his wife Susan's podcast back to back.
Uh-huh.
I said, you guys should really do Push and Tom's podcast, Christina and Tom Segura, their podcast, and vice versa, or at least have them come over and do your respective podcasts. And Drew was like, fantastic. I'd love that. I'm sitting with Tom. I tell him that. I go, is it cool if I give your number to Drew? And he's like, of course. But if I done it, maybe he would have freaked out.
Right.
And
it's
I go,
a respect thing.
I go, can you ask Push if it's cool? And he reaches out to Push. He goes, yes. And then I have to reach to Drew and Susan. Is it okay if I give your numbers?
Yes.
Because I'm like, I cannot just assume.
I'm right there with you.
By the way, I am the total opposite. If you gave my number to anyone, I'd be like, oh, cool, man.
That's how, well, thank God. That's why I love cell phones.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I don't recognize the number, I just don't pick it up.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I did that yesterday. I didn't answer a lot of numbers. And then I answered a number on a podcast, and it was my cardiologist with my test results. And I was like, oh, man, don't want to air this live. It's going to be bad news. It's like, liver elevated. Inflammation elevated, but not a concern. Have a great day. And I was like, really?
Not a
Like,
concern's good news.
Not a concern. It's a great news. That's why I took a Xanax last night. Not a concern. And then I won't drink tonight. We were supposed to go over to Segura's house for dinner, but he got
I love
sick.
him, by the way.
He's yeah.
They're awesome.
I have a special You're very lucky at who you meet when you first get into the business and who you become friends with, and he's one of those guys that I just got very lucky, and I had no part in it. But his best friend was Jay Moore's assistant, and I was touring with Jay, and Jay's assistant said, "I'd like you to meet my buddy Tom. He wants to be a comedian." So we were in Brea, and
God, how long ago was this?
this was
17 years ago?
no, it's got to be. Wow, hold on.
Because we're in 2000. Because
This had to be. It had to be before I had Isla. It had to be 13 years ago, 14 years
It
ago.
had to be a long time.
Yeah, 15.
Because I remember the first time I saw you, I had heard the legend. But the first time I saw you was, do you remember Louis Anderson used to host shows for
Yes.
Barry Katz Sunday nights at the Comedy
Yes.
Store?
That
And
was
I think that was 2003.
That was around that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, can I tell you, to date, had I never done television,
Yep.
this is my theory. I'm being dead serious when I say this. Mm-hmm. So I got Louis one night, brought me over to Mitzi so Mitzi could watch me. Mm-hmm. I was murdering at that time in my career. Like I was
Yeah,
in
you
I was in
crushed.
a really good place writing wise. Like I
Yes.
was just writing very quickly and very freely. If I had passed, Mitzi didn't pass me. She just said, she didn't even say anything. She just said no. It wasn't a dick thing. She just said no. And by the way, I definitely bombed in front of her.
Everybody does.
I bombed hard in front of her.
I was her assistant. She told me that happens all the time.
Oh, yeah. And so, but I believe had I been passed at that moment,
Yeah.
I may have a very different career than I have today.
Well, it's one of my favorite things to do in life.
Yeah.
And I've also given up because I used to be, I'm like, if this happened, then this happened. And now I just say,
I
dude,
wouldn't trade it for the world.
I don't play detective
I
with
wouldn't,
God.
okay, I wouldn't trade it for the world because here. Okay, let's do sliding doors.
Yeah.
Had I been passed, there were like 4 comics working the door who pulled me aside one night and gave me really great compliments. I do not remember who anyone was.
It could have easily been me.
It very easily could have been.
Because I remember watching you. Because I would work Sunday nights because then I was like, we were only getting $25 a shift.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, oh, but then I'm also already there for my spot because it was the night we could perform.
Yeah.
And I remember when Louis booked that show with Barry Katz because I was also working in the day for Paulie. And I remember when they came in and I was like, oh, these are going to be a lot of New York guys that I haven't seen. So I would sit on the stool.
Steve Byrne, me, Jay Moore would do it.
Bill Burr. I literally walked Bill Burr from the main room into the OR with Barry Katz, and I said, put him up.
Yeah.
Not that he needed, but they were like, no, because the store was weird then.
It was a different place.
Totally
It was a really different place. I'll say this. Now I say my career would be in a different place. It could be worse.
Yeah.
Because I think also at that time I had met my wife. We were dating.
Yeah.
Had I moved over to the store, I would have I was also doing Home Run Derby, I think at the time with Ren Azizi and Ari and Brett Ernst and Sebastian. And I remember being like, and Ahmed was like, you need to be working at the store. And Steve was like, you need to be working at the store.
Yeah.
That's that whole period of time. I think I would have gotten into drugs a little harder.
Yeah.
I definitely would have gotten into drugs harder. I probably would have. And I think there was a period of time where some of those guys, not the ones I mentioned, there's more that I haven't mentioned, but we don't need to name names.
Right.
Some of those guys were doing stand-up for pussy as opposed to doing stand-up for the art.
100% so.
And I think I would have fallen into that group very quickly.
Yeah.
Because there was a time in New York where I realized, oh shit, stand-up can get you laid. And I just hung out with a bunch of stand-up for pussy guys.
Yeah.
And that was our MO, was like, fucking, I'd bring in hot girls off, because I worked the door, so I'd bring in hot girls. I'd sit them in great seats. I'd make sure that the other comics knew they were there.
Yep.
Fucking these, hey, just giving you a heads up, they're from Liverpool. Just give it, like, so we could work material around how to fuck them.
Hilarious.
And I definitely did. But, and then I remember saying to Rogan one time, I go, man, I forget what I said, but I said something like, I'm glad I got into the store now and not, 12 years ago or 10 years ago when I first came by here. And just, Rogan is just so matter of fact sometimes. He just goes, yeah, we wouldn't be friends. I said, what? He goes, well, we would definitely not be friends. And I was like, had I started working here 10 years ago? He's like, yeah, I promise you. And I was like, yeah, because I was such a different guy.
Yeah.
I think I met him as a grown man, which is a very different way to meet men.
Yeah.
Like when you're like, yeah, I got kids, I got kids, I got a house. Don't I'm a grown up also.
Yes.
Like I have my own career, I do my own shit. I'm gonna come to you as like a sounding board for advice. I've done that with him and Bill.
Yes.
I used to do it with Jay Moore, but I do it with him and Bill. Like just run, like if you get, they've just lived a very different life. Like I got offered the Man Show. They wanted to do a reboot of the Man Show, and they came to me and they're like, "We want you to reboot the Man Show." They're like, "You and pick your co-host," and I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yep." And I was like, "Wow." I was like, "Wow, this is a dream scenario."
Yeah.
And I called Rogan, and he goes, "Do not do it." I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Don't do it, man." He goes, "I don't think you're ever gonna make the product that Jimmy and Adam had. No one will see it in their eyes the same way." And he was like, it was not easy for me, and it didn't help me my career. And he's like, "I'm just telling you,
great
your friend,
advice.
don't do it." And I was like, and I passed. But I passed because I was having trepidation too, and they wanted me to get Bill Burr to co-host, and I was like, "Guys, Bill Burr is not doing the Man Show with me. I can promise you that."
Yeah.
And they're like, "What about Segura?" And I called Segura, and Segura passed. He was like, I think I'm going to pass. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But I was doing it because I was like, a lot of money, big brand.
Yeah.
I see the other side of television where I go, I'll get to do all my ideas, and Stanhope is like, "You're not going to do your ideas." That's another guy I call for businesses, like more like life advice. I call them all for like different fucking like
Different facets of the same problem.
Segura
it's
too.
interesting.
I call Segura for like advice, like because there's so few people that can give you real like detached advice.
Yes.
Like if you called me right now and you're like, "I'm thinking about doing a show for Travel Channel," I'd be like, "Oh, fucking do it. It'll be a blast."
Yeah.
Like it'll be a blast. You're going to love it. It's going to be the funnest fucking year of your life. And now if you said, "Hey, they offered me a 7-year contract," I'd be like, "All right, now we should talk."
Yes.
Because for 7 years, you're going to be in a holding pattern in life where you won't be able to do stand-up the way you want to do it. And if you do, you're going to be breaking your fucking back to get both done. And, but man, I would still say do it. It's such a fun fucking time.
Yeah, I would love to do something fun like that.
There's a lot of jobs that, I look at and I go, you could have your dream job. Anyone can have their dream job. It's so easy. You just got to say, "I'm just going to do it," and then commit to it and be one of those guys like I wish I could think of the guy that does this, but like Steve Byrne. Steve
Yes.
Byrne's
I love him
all
too.
my
by the
chips
way.
in this pot kind of guy.
Yeah.
He just decides to do something and then he does it.
Yeah, he's so focused.
He just does it. He goes, "I want a sitcom.
Yep.
I want a sitcom like Cheers, but in Pittsburgh with me and my buddies." And like I'm not saying that Steve is a simple person, but very simple in his wants and needs, where he goes, "This is what I want. I know that I want that. And if I want it, then I need it. So I'm just going to make it.
Yeah.
And I won't stop. No one's telling me no." And I am blown away by that. Like he's just very focused on that. Like he's very good at that.
Yeah.
He's really like admirable dude. He's a guy.
Yeah, I do admire him because he does get shit
ideas off
done.
him all the time.
I just sent him a script last night.
He's the best.
He is the
and
best.
really solid to his friends.
Yes. Loyal.
Very loyal.
What's the word? Integrity. Dude, we have a good crew. We travel like
Probably. I'm not fucking around. And this is going to be the biggest statement I've ever said.
Yeah.
In the history of comedy, that for comedy's ever been around, we have the tightest, best group of comedians working right now. This is the best comedy's ever been across the board, meaning there's a lot of friendships involved.
Yes.
There's not a lot of bickery. There's not a lot of hating. Not a lot of people hate people. Like you look at Big J comes out to the store and
Gets
does
nothing but love.
Nothing but love. Fucking Jim Norton comes out to the store.
Nothing
Everyone's
but
fucking
love.
excited to see him.
Yep.
And I think a part that has to do with podcasting, but like there's very few people in this business right now that everyone's like,
Yeah.
and we've kind of smoked them out.
Smoked them out. It's beautiful. You know what I think part of it really is?
What?
The love of the game. I think we are the generation that there was no money in stand-up. Like, people don't realize. I remember talking to a door guy at the Comedy Store in 2001 when I started to work there. Harris. I don't know if you ever met Harris. But Harris Pete. He'd been doing comedy since the 70s.
Yeah.
And he was telling me how much money comedians made, say, in 1982. He was like, "Steve, There were limited clubs, but they were starving for comics. You could make $1,500 a week plus a plane ticket to feature in 1982.
Holy
I'm
shit.
like, dude, we make less money now 30 years later.
Here, do me a favor. We grab that fucking phone so we don't have to hear that.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
It just lift it up. I'm sorry. Here, throw it to me. I'm gonna just so I can. Sorry, but that you know, when I started my first headlining tour was $1,300
Right.
to headline, $300 for travel,
Yep.
and they'd put you in the condo.
Yeah. And we would
13 dates, and I thought I was fucking rich.
exactly. Like nobody did, and there was no TV, there was no comedy movies being made, there was no comedy TV shows being made. There was no like, oh, you do the Tonight Show and you get a development deal, and all that was gone.
See, I was there at the beginning of that. I was there not the Tonight Show, but I was there at the very tail end. I was talking with Gareth Reynolds and Dave Anthony about
Dude,
this.
I'm gonna get Gareth on the podcast. I love that dude.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But I was saying that I was in the last generation of development deals. The last group of guys that got development deals, I would say the last ones were me, Frank Caliendo, and Chicken.
Wow.
Gary Goldman. The three of us got the last round of development deals.
Wow.
Or the four of us. And of young comics. And then they disappeared because they all flopped and everyone wasted, over $1 million on talent that, quite honestly, was going to be there anyway. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like we were going anywhere. They could have just cast us in anything anyway.
Yes.
And so then, Last Comic Standing saved comedy in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because
It was a little bridge.
it was the only thing that kept us afloat or got people interested in us. Because I remember Gary Goldman and I sitting, Dane Cook, Last Comic Standing. Dane Cook, there's a lot of credit that can be given to Dane because, he just reintroduced a way to do it ourselves that we're still doing.
Yeah.
But he was that first. What frustrates me about Dane is that I wish he had just never. I wish he had never gotten sidetracked by the business and stayed akin to his passion of like technology and doing it his own way.
Yeah.
And making his own products
Yeah.
and fucking reinvesting his money in himself.
Yeah.
I think he got that siren temptress whistle from the whores in the ocean being like, okay, great. Glad you got here with MySpace. Understand Facebook's taking off. That's all horse shit. What really matters is you and Jessica Simpson. And
Yeah.
it's really hard to say no. It's really hard to go, oh yeah, I won't do a movie. I won't do fucking 5 movies. I won't sell out a stadium.
Right.
But like-
I don't know. I think he probably made so much money.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So much money that I think it's difficult if you're not, no matter who you are or how you made it, or because like the way you see athletes act, the way I think there's just something about an obscene amount of money that makes it very difficult to hold on to your humanity.
But think about this. Had Dane taken that money, done a couple projects, taken that money,
He could've-
reinvested in himself.
and so- yeah, he could've wrote
stayed
any movie he wanted.
Stayed with
He could've-
technology.
Yeah.
Kept making his own stuff. 'Cause Dane, by the way, Dane was making all his own stuff. He was making shorts. What the fuck? He was making shorts. He was making all his own stuff. Had he done that, do you know who he'd be? Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah,
That's what Kevin Hart did. Kevin Hart got money. Fuck it. Do another tour. I'm gonna pay for it. I'm gonna put it out in theaters.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna start my own business, Heartbeat Productions.
Yeah.
So fuck this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make my own shit, and just kept reinvesting in himself. And I can't even.
Kevin Hart's a genius.
I don't know if he's a genius or if he's just like Steve Byrne, where he just goes, no. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm gonna make my own thing.
Yeah,
I'm
But
not
to have
saying
that
Kevin's not a
business
genius.
savvy.
I don't think he's definitely business savvy. But I don't know if he's a genius other than he just says the same thing that Dane says. Like, it works for me. Working for me works for me. I'm the only one this passionate about me. I'm just gonna keep doing my own shit. I think that's what Kevin has done, because he just does his own shit and he stays in his lane. Like he gets passionate about something. He goes, fuck it. If I'm passionate about it, passion begets passion. Other people get passionate about it. like fucking this working out kick he's on. Like,
Oh my God, yeah.
I kind of find it fun because I go now I'm on a little bit of a workout kick, and so I kind of just keep up with where he's at. And I was like, I'm not saying Kevin Hart got me healthy, but like,
Yeah.
I definitely look at him and I go, yeah, man, he really is killing it in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, like that is
Darren Carter's doing that to me right now. Have you seen Darren Carter's workout updates?
No.
It's the party starter. There's a boxing gym in Burbank, Pullman's.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when Darren started there like a year and a half ago. Now he's
trying
doing
to drink my microphone.
he's doing like 300 push-ups a day, 300 squats a day, running 6 miles, jumping ropes, sparring. It's inspirational.
I had I there's this business. I don't know if it's because I've been drinking less and working out more, and my
Good for you, dude.
My self-esteem.
It's good for you. Yeah, it's definitely.
My self-esteem was so fucking low when this whole fat shaming thing started. My self-esteem was in the fucking shitter. Like, I remember I was talking about therapy. I was like, I had to find out the difference between ego and self-esteem, because I'd look at someone like Kevin Hart and it would make me depressed. I was like, how can he be so fucking up? You know what? It's all a lie. No one can be that positive. There's no fucking way. And then when I started losing weight, like, I didn't do it healthy, obviously. Like, I jumpstart my diet with like a Xanax at 4 p.m. and then sleep, wake up at like I did last night. Honestly, like I did last night, like I was just telling you.
Yeah.
That's how I jump started a diet, except I use an Ambien in the middle. So what I did is I took a Xanax at like 4 and then slept, and then woke up and was like, had dinner with my family, but I didn't eat because I was a little tired.
Yeah.
Had a double Tito's soda, went right back to bed, woke up in the morning, had an Ambien, slept all fucking day. That night, woke up for dinner with my family, couple cocktails, back in bed. Monday morning, I am like 13 pounds down.
Wow.
No shit. And then once you're 13 pounds down, you're like,
That's momentum.
you're like, this is momentum.
Yeah.
Now we're moving somewhere. So, but that's the most unhealthy advice to give anyone. No one listened to what I said. But, and then I started feeling better about myself, and I was like, oh, I feel good. Like, I deserve good things. Like, I deserve.
That is the secret to all of it.
Yeah.
People feel unworthy. We all don't feel good enough, and that's why we make poor decisions. It's the secret to all of it.
I couldn't understand. I couldn't, whatever it is, I guess id is, I don't know what an id is, but I think id is that inner wolf, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
that's
like,
a perfect way to put it.
like,
Inner wolf.
Let's just call it an inner bear, because I have more of a bear mentality of like a big dumb animal. But my inner bear would hibernate at times when I was overweight, or I was drinking a lot, or I was like smoking a lot of pot.
Yeah.
My inner bear would hibernate hard as fuck. And then in times like this where you're feeling good, your inner bear starts roaring. Well, and then, like, when I was getting fat shamed, my inner bear would be protective of itself, so we'd hibernate again. What I couldn't understand, and I say this, I hope this comes out from a place of love, but like Amy Schumer gets fat shamed more than any human out there.
Yeah.
Her and Lena Dunham, and I'm not a fan of Lena Dunham's. I don't like Lena Dunham personally, but like I do feel a connection with her because I know what it's like to get hate online, and like we all do. And so I may not like her political views. I may not like the way she like the way she talks about stuff like abortion, and for me, I used to have a joke where I go, I don't really have a view politically. Like people go, oh, we should ban all guns. I go, yeah, but they're really fucking fun. Like, guns are really fun. Like, if you're an adult and you can handle them, like, they're fucking a blast to go out and shoot machine guns. Fucking amazing. It feels awesome. Now, yeah, granted, they kill a lot of people too. Yeah. But, and then I was like abortion. Like, listen, I think it should be up to the woman's right to choose. I think the woman should choose. I don't think I should have a say in her decision on what she wants to do. But then I go, but if you get an abortion, let's not cut it any other way. You did kill something.
Yes.
You
it's a life.
killed something. Like, I'm not saying, I agree. If you want to kill something. But let's not say it's not killing something. You definitely fucking killed something.
That's a good point.
That was a fucking life. Like, look, I would sit with that gravity on my life.
For the rest of your life.
Yeah, for the rest of my life.
For the rest.
If you can deal with that, deal with that. I believe that what the law should be is it's your body, it's your choice. But don't forget, your choice also is murder.
Yeah,
like
murder.
they've greenlit murder. That I'm not saying that to shame you. I'm just saying that because that's the facts.
And it's also, in a way, the most loving way. Because, like, the problem is people do that. They make that decision that I would never, ever want to have to make.
But yeah, that's the
But
part.
it lives with you for... all of our decisions live with us forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Look,
actions have consequences, regardless.
Leanne
That's
got
it.
pregnant with Georgia when we weren't married.
Yeah.
Now, I was madly in love with my wife, my girlfriend at the time, who I had already bought an engagement ring for. There was no conversation ever of what would we do. There was no conversation. However, there was definitely, that was looming in the air because we weren't married.
Yeah.
Like, so how do you feel? She didn't say, like, what are we going to do? How do you feel about this?
Yeah.
I was through the fucking roof. I
Yeah.
think I'm a better dad than I am a better husband. I think I'm a better dad than I am comic. I'm a really
That's
fun
everything.
fucking dad.
That's everything.
And I was ready to be a dad, and I wanted more kids.
Yeah.
But that was in there, and I definitely, I'm not saying I toyed with the idea, but you definitely go, that is, in this moment, that's the two things you talk about.
Yeah.
And I just personally, I will tell you from my experience, I can't imagine doing that. Now,
Dude, honestly, the older I get, the more I feel awful about birth control. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm like, I go,
I feel awful about jacking off now.
Yes.
Because I go, those are my babies.
Right.
Like that's, I made a joke. I go, as a grown man, when I jack off and I just blow a load on a towel, I go, oh my God.
Wait a second.
He would have had my eyes.
that's hilarious.
And then the new joke I have.
That is so funny. But I feel the same way. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I want to be dad. I want to be a dad more than anything in life.
Oh, it's so great. Last night we got in bed, the four of us. We eat dinner, and then I go, hey, let's all just fucking no electronics. Let's just all get in bed and talk.
The best.
Four of us get in our bed, and it was the greatest. It was the greatest fucking moment. You know, I don't know. I think I'm having, the older I get, the more I start, my eyes are open to you know, what is important, you
Yes.
know, and I wish I could start a charity for families who just to like, I mean, the homeless people. I think they're already taken care of, but there's a portion of families in this country that it's like they don't get to slow down because they're just living paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
I would love to start a charity for families that are just a little overextended,
Yes.
where they're not comfortable and they don't get to relax because they're so stressed
Financial
out about
burdens.
money.
Yes, I agree with you.
It's like the one group where I go, like, I don't
And that's
have that.
90% of America.
I've been there before a lot.
Yeah,
but I
it
don't
robs
have
you of
that-
the joy of life.
and I don't have that this month. I don't have that this month, and I haven't had it for a little while. But I definitely don't have it. That's all I can say is I don't have it this month.
Yep.
And
That's perfect.
And because I don't have that, I can slow down, and I can really enjoy my daughters and go, hey, you guys want to go on a bike ride? And I'm not on a bike ride going, fuck, man, I should call that guy back. How do I angle this? How do I work this?
Yes.
Because I've been there where you're
Yes.
like when not to get into great details, but when a show gets canceled and you wonder, does anyone ever want to work with me again?
Yeah, where's my next meal coming from? There's so much uncertainty in this life.
Like that's the charity I would make. But like, yeah. Anyway,
you can do that. By the way,
if you've had an abortion and you're thinking, Bert, you don't know what it's like. You're right. I don't know what it's like. I'm not assuming to put myself in anyone's shoes. I'm just telling you from my perspective. And by the way, it was meant to be a joke in the first place, and it just never worked. Because when you accuse people of murdering children on stage, it doesn't come out right.
Chris Rock had I remember reading this, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. But he talked about the best stand-up comedy is like mixing nitroglycerin. He goes, if it's off just a little bit, it blows up in your face.
Dude.
And then the example he used was abortion. And I remember he had that joke where he was like, I survived the womb, bitch. Straight out of the womb like it was prison. Like,
yeah.
I made it through.
Patrice O'Neal was amazing at that.
Yeah.
He had a joke. I
rest his soul.
I don't know if he ever recorded it. But his joke was, it was right when Michael J. Fox came out with Parkinson's. Parkinson's?
Okay, yeah.
Is that what he got?
Yeah.
Parkinson's. And he's like, man, I was watching this fucking news conference, and Michael J. Fox is coming out saying we need to cure Parkinson's. And he's sitting next to Muhammad Ali, and here he is trying to outshake the champ. He's like, I just wish one person in that audience would be like, yo, Michael J., I understand that we should give money to Parkinson's, but what about AIDS and cancer? And he goes, I just would like Michael J. Fox just in one moment of honesty go, well, the problem with that is I don't got that shit. And it was like, so brand new that Michael J. Fox had Parkinson's, and so many people grew up with him as their older brother.
Yeah.
And so many people loved him in every show he's ever done, and he's never been a guy that beat up women or anything. He's such a fucking Canadian American treasure.
Yeah.
That like
Michael J. Fox from Canada?
Oh fuck yeah.
God, I love Canadians.
Yeah. Oh dude. Can I tell you about Alan Thicke? Thicke. I was on
another
a plane.
one guy rest his soul.
I was on a plane flying to. I'm gonna guess New York only because it was sleeper beds.
Yeah.
And I got upgraded in a sleeper bed, and Robin Thicke was flying with his dad, which I already find
the best,
cool as shit.
Yeah,
that you're hanging out with your dad.
Yes.
And they got up, and these people that were like my age asked Alan Thicke if they could take a picture with them and his son, and he was so proud, like ear to ear. He was like, "Of course." Of course, and he like got their camera and took like probably 7 pictures with Robin Thicke, and there was no, and in my head I was like, dude, you're my dad from growing up. When Boner and fucking
Richard Stabone, the hot tub one,
dude,
when they went in the hot tub and the lady offered them cocaine,
yes,
changed my life. I was like, I am never doing drugs.
The ratings for that must have been through the fucking roof. Do you know who Boner was?
Richard Stabone, no.
Do a little sidebar of interesting. Jimmy Pardo is married to Boner's sister.
No way.
Yeah.
Now the reason to love Jimmy Pardo.
Jimmy Pardo is fucking great. But Jimmy Pardo, not to take this in a sad direction, I'm right now I cannot remember his real name, and it's escaping me, and I know it because his dad was Chekhov on Star Trek.
Boner's dad?
Was Chekhov on Star Trek.
It's a lot of talent in one family.
Yes, and then they brought Pardo in. No, but and then he had some mental issues. He had some, I think, bipolar issues or depression issues, and he ended up, I think, committing suicide. But he worked on Never Not Funny. He was on the show all the time. I can't remember. I can't believe I can't remember his name right now, and it's bothering me.
Wow.
But yeah. So, I don't know what we were talking about.
We were talking about you were talking about abortion and how Patrice made the Parkinson's.
Oh yeah. But that you're right.
And that led more into like family type stuff.
Chris Rock's N words, black people versus N words.
It's iconic.
But that I heard that bombed a lot, and that that let's try to size it up. The seminal bits of our career, the ones that you go, that's the best bit written. Mm-hmm. That might be number one.
It's up there.
Okay, so Bill and Louis have to have a couple.
Yeah,
Bill's got.
Dude, I think Bill's the best. I'm not just saying this because we know him.
I hate saying that because I know Bill doesn't want that said.
I know,
like Bill's like, I'm not. I'm just working, just like you. I have hard times, just like you. And I'm like, yeah, but you're writing so much quicker than I am. And I go, and then part of me goes, I'm not. At the best I am in my game, I'm obsessive compulsive about stand up, and that which is not enjoyable.
Yeah,
which I can't let go of the bit. Like I'm obsessing about bits, and I'm like, and everything's a bit. Everything turn around the corner, and I'm like, there's no way this many bits are coming into my life. But but Bill's one bit from his special about adopting a sweat factory kid versus a boy soldier is one of my favorite bits I've ever heard. Louis, I'm trying to think of something Louis. I think Louis' one line that he created that made itself into the lexicon is "suck a bag of dicks."
Yep.
Like that's just one of those things where you're like, oh, now everyone says that. You're like,
yes.
Oh, and Louis came up with that.
Yes.
I don't know if there's another bit as good as black people versus N words.
I think for me, my favorite bit ever is probably Kinnison's "This Is Sand."
That's yep. Okay, that licking the alphabet was one.
Yeah, Kinnison had
where you're like, yeah, Kinnison was pretty. Okay, Dice's Hickory Dickory Dock. Yeah. His nursery rhymes might be the number one bit.
It's amazing. Dude, and then Eddie Murphy, like, just you could pull about just about anything off of the
Yo,
lyrics.
Norton.
Yeah. Hamada, hamada, hamada.
Hamada, hamada,
You
hamada.
ain't got no ice cream. Like,
Yeah.
dude, Eddie Murphy, another force of nature.
Yeah.
And then when you think about how young he was when he was doing that stuff.
Did you ever? Can I tell you? And I think Eddie Murphy's a genius,
So do I.
and I think Charlie Murphy is. You know, he came into stand up at such a late time in the game. He is one of the most naturally funny human beings. You ever get into like a spiral where you just watch Charlie Murphy?
No.
Charlie Murphy.
I'll check him out on YouTube.
Hold on. So Charlie Murphy's got this story that I heard on Snoop Dogg's podcast. It's
perfect.
so good. And he's like, I think Snoop says, what was it like being Eddie Murphy's brother? He was like, yo, man. Like, I'm doing a bad Charlie Murphy, but he's like, it was great. He was like, I came back from the Navy and my brother's in LA and it's just a different world. Like, he goes, I came back, all I had was my uniform.
Wow.
And the first night, Eddie's like, yo, we're going out. He's like, go into my closet and grab something to wear. And I come out and they're all in like leather jackets, no shirts, leather pants, then fucking sparkles. He's like, I'm out of the Navy. So I go into the closet. By the way, I'm punching this story up from the way I remember it.
Yes.
But this is the story. So I go into the closet and I grab a pair of like sparkling pants and a busboy jacket. He goes, you remember the Busboys? They were a band.
Yeah, they
It was like-
played on his special.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
boys,
Yeah.
they did a song on Ghostbusters too.
Yeah, and he's like, it was like up above. He like it stopped right above your navel, and it was like striped with sparklers, and like all the stripes were sparkling. He's like, we go in this club, and he's like, I walk in and I feel like a million. He's like, he goes, I can hear people talking like, yo, that's Eddie Murphy. That's Eddie Murphy. And they're like, yo, who's that he's with? And he's like, yo, that's his brother. And he's like, I'm yeah. And they're like, man, what's his brother do? And like, I think he's a magician. I fucking ruined that bit. But Charlie Murphy is the fucking naturally funniest
He's a
person.
magician.
I think he's a magician.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I think he's a magician. I fucking wish I was friends with him. Like, I wish I could
Yeah.
hang out. I know he's a lot older than me. Like, I think he's like 70.
Who cares?
I would love to hang out with him. He just makes me laugh. I watched so much shit. I watched all the outtakes from Chappelle's show of like his just outtakes.
Where can you find that stuff?
I just go online and I'll just type in Charlie Murphy and watch everything I've ever done. He was friends. He told a story on Rogan where he was friends with a singer, Johnny
Gill?
Johnny Gill.
Really?
Johnny
From New Edition?
Johnny Gill one night decided he wanted to be a prize fighter. And he just tells his story of Johnny Gill wanting to be a prize. It was the funniest. He's like, I think I could beat up Mike Tyson.
Oh,
Dude,
my
Charlie
God.
Murphy is someone that I would like. I would. Maybe I'll reach out to him and see if I can get him on my podcast. But all I do is have him tell all the stories I want to hear because like he made me laugh so hard. You know, Tom Segura was really good friends with Charlie Murphy, and I mean him and Joe Rogan and Charlie Murphy were like buddies. Like they hung out all the time. Segura won this Maxim Real Men of Comedy contest.
Yeah.
And so they let him open in like 2 cities for Heffron, Segura, or for
And
Heffron, Rogan, and
Yeah,
Charlie
I remember
Murphy.
that. That was like 2005, maybe 2006.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Charlie Murphy had just started stand up, and he was like, "Don't worry, I'll close." And Rogan's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll close."
Yeah.
I know. I would never want to follow Rogan, let
Never.
alone having done it a year.
Never.
But Charlie Murphy, I just find him really fucking fascinating. He's also
He's-
old school, you know, like
It's great. I remember Neil Brennan telling me the story. Like, I forget how he knew Charlie. But him and
Chappelle
Dave.
Show.
No, they knew they were going to put him
Oh,
on the
really?
show before that because those stories he said they just naturally would flow out.
And
of
you know
him.
what? It's the thing about storytelling. It's sometimes I don't know. For me, I think I'm not like Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy's got such a slow pace, and the way he talks is so interesting.
Yes.
And like he can get into character and get in and out of character. Charlie Murphy really is one of those people that his storytelling's so good and so organic, it almost doesn't belong on stage. Like I don't know if a stage would appreciate it the way you can when you hear it third party and he's just telling it one-on-one, you know?
Gotcha.
Like, I don't know, like...
I honestly, though, I think that's the best stand-up.
Oh,
I think the best stand-up is when it doesn't feel like a performance. It's just a real... It's like you're connected with the audience. It's intimate and awesome.
I want to do... maybe I'll do it in the belly room. But, like, I want to... one of the problems I'm having with this new hour is that, like, I've got like two... Maybe, like... Let's see if my joke book is around. I've got, like, 2 bits... I don't think I brought it with me. I've got like 2 or 3 bits that like you could use, meaning like they're not specific to me.
Okay.
And then I've got like 4 stories, which by the way makes stand up very problematic when you have like total you have 7 things for your hour.
I know.
And you're like, oh, I don't have like a million different things I can go to.
I think it's better though. I think this is the stuff people want to.
I think I'm gonna do just stories where I tell. I need to tell the Travel Channel stuff. I got to figure it out. I was thinking about writing a book. I have a buddy. I'm never going to write another book by myself. I'm always going to have a ghost written or co-written with me. Writing it by yourself is the biggest. That's got to be
like the never-ending homework.
It was so stressful, and it really fucked me up in my head, and it was a sincere waste of time. I mean, I'm glad everyone liked the book, and I'm really proud that I did it. I'm really glad I did it. However, I could have, theoretically, spent just as much time, if not an eighth of that time, figuring out those stories for stage and just sharing them on stage, which I think is my strong suit.
That's why I became a stand-up. I moved out here because I wanted to be a screenwriter.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I didn't have the discipline to sit down and do it. And I went, what I loved about stand-up, because I always loved stand-up, admired it. But to this day, what I love most about it is when they say your name, you can't procrastinate. You just have to go out there and do it. Yeah. It's the greatest. It's alive in the moment.
I've tried, I've tried to get, the thing that sucks is like, you just got to find, sometimes for me, I get the big story and then try to work back. Like I wanted to do The Moth and they said, what story do you want to tell? One of the interesting things about working for Travel Channel is I came out with PTSD. Like because I was doing 3 bucket list activities a day in 10 hours.
Oh my god!
Everywhere, and then sometimes at the very end of the day, getting on a plane and flying to a new place and starting up a brand new 3. And there's really, really, really like specific moments where you go, where you recognize the fragility of your mortality. Like really, I say I appreciate my mortality more than any single person could possibly appreciate their mortality. Pedestrian, not like fucking thrill seeker, not like guys who base jump and stuff like that, but like only because I was a regular guy put in these extraordinary situations where you're like we were on safari, and a lot of people have been on safari, and I think if you go on safari in your head as a pedestrian, you're like, oh, this is cool. They must have some sort of rules set up so that we can't die. There is no rules, and like we were 20 feet from a lion who's just sitting under a tree, and I remember thinking, if this lion decides to do something, we have no exit strategy.
Yes.
There's nothing we can do. If he decides to get up and walk towards us and we start moving and he goes, oh, now we're playing catch, and fucking goes after us, there's nothing we can do. And I remember realizing it very acutely. And the people I was with, where the fuck's she going? The people I was with just didn't sense that. But I sensed it because, like, I'd seen things go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, when you see things go wrong,
you can't get that innocence back again ever.
That's what it is the innocence. Like I ran out of air at like 90 feet in Fiji.
Oh my God.
I remember, what's funny is I thought this would be a story that I ended up telling on stage. Mm-hmm. But all I have out of this story, the only thing that I have that's interesting out of that story, because quite honestly, I lived. There's no end to it. You're like, a thing that makes a story great is a great ending. But like, there's no end to it.
I wouldn't be so concerned with that because this is what I think.
What?
I think it's the ride. Like I'm working out a story I told on a podcast about, eventually it's about me crying on a treadmill in front of Denzel Washington. And takes a while to get, but people have so much fun walking through the experience with you.
That story will be epic if you can find a button at the end that ta-da's it.
Yeah, I have a way to get out of it. Like it lands.
But Ari and I always say, if you can, like, so we did a storytelling night with Sebastian, and the ride was so fun. He's such a talented
Yeah,
comedian.
he's unbelievable.
But his ending wasn't there, and it left everyone like,
yeah, you definitely need an ending.
like he was like, yeah, and then you know,
But if you just came with that premise about like, I know how fragile life is,
well,
and then you pulled out, and your ending is, let's celebrate the fact that we're alive, because like that's everything I'm trying to get. The whole thing I'm exploring is life is a gift, life is a joy. Find the little joys in life. Be so grateful that you're here, and that's it. Because I don't think enough people are doing that. Not just in comedy, but in life in general. So it's like whatever stories that's how I filter everything. I'm like, is it true? Is it positive? Is it life affirming?
Yeah.
Does this make people and remind people that they're worthy of happiness, that they're worthy of love? Like, that's what I'm trying to do. So I think I can spin endings with that because it feeds a larger overall point of view.
yeah, maybe. I see the way I see story these days is like, this is the way I look at story.
I'm gonna write
Is
this
it
down.
is it epic?
Yeah.
Like, is it epic? Is it worth telling? Meaning like it doesn't even need to be epic, in essence, but like, is it worth telling in the sense of like, is it different enough?
Yes.
Are people going to have similar stories? Like, I've told stories that are very across the board. A lot of people could have them. The birth of my first daughter. I told that story. I think everyone's got one. If you have a child, you've got a birth of the first story because it so catches you off guard.
Right.
And what I did in it is I tried to weave it so it was my own ride, which was great. At the end of the day, someone could tell my exact same story, and I would go, "You stole that," and they go, "No, I just did it also."
Yeah.
So the thing I was looking for now in stories is it worth telling in the sense that like, does it inspire people? Does it scare people? Does it elicit some emotion when you start it off?
Yes.
Another thing I need in a story is I need them to be curious. I need them to be like, what happens next? Like, I want them to like the thing about my scuba diving story is they already know the ending, and so I could never figure out what happens next. Like it's almost like this whole story is all it is the ride because you know what happens. The only thing that's
okay,
interesting.
what I just wrote down with the note to myself, and I never thought of this until we just had this moment right now, was that the why you're telling them is just as important as what you're telling them.
Yeah.
So if you can figure out the why you want to tell that scuba diving story, it might figure out what you're going to tell them. So that's how you'll find it.
Why I want to tell it.
What's the message? The theme?
That story has no. I told it to the Moth, and they were like, "It's pretty much a one-note story."
There you go.
And I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess it got scary, but you're fine." I was like, "Yeah, okay." So then,
Because if you talked about like the preciousness of life that you have this because of that job, you could that could be a one-man show. You could put together a bunch of different stories, and you could end it with the birth of your daughter.
I already did that on a special.
But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, that's
yeah.
sort of like ode to life.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't know. What I need is I need a place. I need a place where I can do an hour worth of stories that I don't tell on stage, so that I can really go figure these out. Because what I do now is I just tell them on the road in bits and pieces,
Yes.
and that people are definitely engaged, but I don't have a litmus to find out. Are you just engaged because I've been doing really well for like 40 minutes and I just told you a story about riding motorcycles through rice paddies in Vietnam? And are you just like, wow, I'm along for the ride? You got me. You had me.
Yeah, because there is a point when you connect with an audience, then it's like, it's a different thing.
Like I was saying, like I have a story about jumping off the world's tallest stadium in Africa. I said it's really funny when you do something like that. Like I wouldn't say I'm racist, but man, I am racist when I'm about to jump off a stadium and you have a black guy harness me up. I go, no. I need a white guy for this.
That's one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
I go, I've never had a black guy ever in America harness me into anything. That's not their strong suit. It's like, we're going skydiving. This is your instructor, Jamal. You're like, I'm going to pass. I want to meet Blake. Like, I want to, you know.
So funny.
Because black guys they just don't go skydiving. They don't go surfing. They don't go fucking bungee jumping. They don't go base jumping. What you see as a black guy next to a roller coaster going, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the closest you see to him. So when I go to get harnessed up, I've always just had Australian guys harness me up. So they're like, all right, mate, here we go. Zip, zap, zip. Here we go. Gonna tighten up here, tighten up there. Pull that up on your waist, would you, mate? Okay. All right. Now we're going to have Derek look at it. Derek, you want to take a look at it? And he's like, sure thing there, Jeremy. And he's like, okay, here we go. Zip, zap, zip. We got a dick. And Bob's your uncle. We're ready to go. And you feel safe as fuck. When a black guy does it, he just goes, you're good. And you're like, hold on, do you want to double check your work? And he's like, you think I'm lying? And you're like, no. I'm just saying, like, do you have someone else look at it? And he's like, and the guy's like, and you're like, oh my God.
That's got to be such an uncomfortable
and what's
feeling.
interesting, you can see it on the video, is when you jump with white people, I've bungee jumped a lot with white people, like with a lot with skydived with them, and they're like, all right, here we go. Gonna go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Bungee. Okay, we didn't do it that time. We're gonna give it one more chance. Here we go. All right, count of 5. We're gonna give it the count of 5 this time. When these guys did it, I said, all right, are we ready? And they're like, yeah. All right, here we go. And I was like, are we gonna count it down? And the guy goes, okay, 1, 2, and he knees me in the back and kicks me off the thing.
Oh my
I
gosh.
wish I do have my phone. I'll show you him knee me in the fucking back. Now, what he was doing, because I realized it when he did it to the guy after me. He kneed us all in the back. Oh, shut the fuck up.
What? Something awesome? What?
I'm supposed to go to space.
What?
Yeah.
Like space?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Have you seen that movie Hidden Figures?
Fucking my wife is it? No.
Go see it. It's like the Rocky of math. It's about 3 black chicks.
Oh,
that
yeah.
saved
Is it really
NASA.
good?
It's one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I get disconnected because I hear that old Bill Burr bit.
What's that?
Like, he was talking about, I don't even know if he did it on a special, but he was talking about, I guess there was a movie where black guys were on the swim team. It's like a whole inspirational movie. And he's like, how fucking far are we taking this? He's like, they're really like, don't let them in the pool. Like, it was like a bit, but it was really funny. All right. I'll find it in 2 seconds. Uploads. It should be one of my top uploads, I would imagine.
And dude, after this, I would love to hear the machine. Yeah, I've never.
Yes,
we have to get into
about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to tell it in the most conversational way possible. Let's see. I gotta find. Man, it's amazing what gets views and what doesn't.
Yep.
I guess these are done chronologically. Here, I'll show you. I just want you to see the guy kicking me off the back, because it just is like. It just defines the difference between black guys and white guys. And by the way, I'd love it if he didn't kick me off the back, and that's just my memory, because I'm in bit mode where you're like, that's close enough. Works for the bit. Here we go. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. I went through a period where I did a vlog, and I must have uploaded so much shit. Here we go. World's tallest rope swing. Here, I'll get it to the part where look, that's how high we are.
Oh my God.
Just take a look.
I would never.
This is fucking high as shit.
Never.
Look at no time harnessing me up. Just fucking clicks me in. Do you want to? I have a bunch of questions. Here, I'll get you to the part where he needs me. Here.
Did you ever figure out how to do all this stuff yourself to double check everybody's work? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a fucking epic.
Oh my gosh, dude. I would never, ever do anything
This moment
like that.
right here, though, is the greatest moment you'll ever have in life.
When you're like, I'm still alive, that moment?
Still alive is the best moment you'll ever have in life. It's fucking... I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you how great it feels. I have a video of something that would blow your fucking mind. I wish I had my computer in here. I have a video of me jumping off the Corona Arch.
I don't even know what that is.
So it's in Utah, and it's an arch, and it's just a big like arch coming out of a mountain. So there's like a hole through it, and it's. Like
I've seen that like in posters in college and stuff like that.
So what they do is they hook.
It's like a giant stone arch.
Yeah, and so they hook harnesses into one side of it, and then they drape the rope up under it, and then harness you into it, and then when you jump out and you swing up under the harness arch and come out. And I said to the guy right when we did it, I said maybe I should throw on a helmet. And this kid, Creighton Baird, just looks at me and he goes, "You don't want to live through this." I said, "What?" And he goes, "If something happens, man, just go. Just go." And I was like,
"Oh my God.
Are you fucking kidding me?" I was like, "I'm going to put a helmet on anyway, just in case." And so then we do it. It's successful. It's one of the greatest moments of my life. And then 3 months later, we're editing it. We're getting ready to post to the TV show.
Yeah.
And my producer's like, just out of curiosity, okay, would you go to jail for this bit? And I go, what do you mean? And he's like, well, we kind of broke some rules and we didn't technically get a permit. But if you're willing to soft time in a federal prison, me and you will post it. It'll probably go viral. It'll be a big story that we go to jail. And we can air it. And I was like, and then I started doing the math. I was like, okay, me and him are big drinkers. Maybe 6 months. We need that. It's like a rehab. We go in, we learn some handball, we get some tax advice. And I was like, this wouldn't be bad. We're doing push-ups every day. We come out. Travel Channel's like, they're out of prison. Let's start the show back.
Yes.
But we ended up. My wife's like, you're not going to fucking prison.
Yeah, that's the right decision.
Yeah. But
your wife's a good woman.
But I always think it's about the story. How great would that story be? Yeah, I just got out of prison because of this. And then maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should use video in my tell the story and show video up on the screen, like get clips and go, let me tell you about scuba diving in Fiji. And then you see me underwater. Blah, 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 blah.
Do you know what this is my take just on you, just out of left field brainstorming. I would do the show you want to show your grandkids. I would talk to the audience as if they were your grandkids and go, this is Pop Bert. This is my life.
Oh, I wonder if I could,
something like that.
It would be too much to do it in get like an age
No, you know what I'm saying? Like almost like you want them to know you. Like my dad was telling me stories about his grandparents, and I'm like, I wish I could know them. I wish, and you're in your prime right now, man. And you've had this amazing because they're going to be talking about you for generations.
What a brilliant,
and it's so intimate. And it's such a good, and that gives you, the why.
Do you know how much
the why?
There'll be so much shit you could tell. Where you're like, this was back when we had just black people and they weren't all intermixed.
Like who knows?
They used to have just Mexicans. Can you believe that? They lived in this country. Donald Trump got rid of that.
Right. Oh yeah, you could.
I wonder.
After you have all the stories, you could write as many jokes as you want. People used to judge each other how they looked. Do you believe that?
That would be cool if you did a whole hour special as like an older drunk grandpa sitting on a porch, and you did maybe you were in makeup. Yeah.
It's one way to do it. I mean, I would do it just
That's a really interesting. See, that's the thing that me and you think is cool, but then maybe if I did it and you didn't do it just right, everyone would be like, did you see this horse shit?
Right. But I'm just saying, like, almost as if it's like a time capsule, like just opening up your life and the lessons you learned.
When I was talking about writing that book, I went through and I found why my assistant put all the pictures from the entire 4 seasons of Trip Flip on a drive so that I can flip through them. And there are a lot of boring pictures, but one of the things that's great about it is it jars my memory of all the shit I did.
Yes.
Like I don't remember anything I did. Like I saw one and I was like, I did an episode in Maui. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck did I do in Maui? And then I was like, oh, that's right. Mama's Fish House Ranch. We went surfing with this guy named Turtle. Or not Turtle, I forget his name. But I was like, yeah.
Turtle's from the movie The North Shore. Hey, bro.
But he did have a name like that. I forget his name.
There's a metaphor that's coming out when I'm hearing all this stuff. Because you've had such extraordinary experiences, but they were so crammed together that you weren't able to appreciate them. And that ties into what you were talking about, the financial burdens on families, that people can't enjoy the little moments.
Oh, if I'd given one of these, I mean, I did give them one to every different person, but if I could gift one of my experiences to one person and allow them 5 days, 6 days to do it, they would talk
For the rest of their
ad
life.
nauseam about that.
For the rest of their life.
But so much of shit just like
There's a lesson here.
there is. I'm glad
We have to
did this
appreciate it.
podcast.
Yeah, it's so good. Dude, and I haven't even gotten to all the good times. Like, I'm fat. I remember reading about you in Rolling Stone.
Are you serious?
I swear to God, because my younger brother had gotten a Rolling Stone subscription. It was like one of those scams or was it whatever. But we were so excited to get a magazine because before the internet, you're like,
Yeah.
and it would come in the mailbox. And I remember going, this guy is me. Me and this guy would be such good friends. And it's so weird
Yeah.
to be here. What is that? What was that, 20 years ago? That was written?
It was 1997,
20 years ago.
20 years ago. I did my hour special. On April 1st, 2016, 19 years to the day that article came out.
That's
Isn't that crazy?
awesome.
Yeah, and that blew me away. I was like, that's to the day. I was like, oh, this is
Dude, I totally
serendipity.
believe in God. I don't believe in accidents.
I
I
my
totally
hour
believe in God.
special was released November 11th, 11/11. That's my lucky number.
Wow.
Dude, all these things just lined up where you're like, oh, it couldn't have happened differently. I'm so happy.
Yeah, praise the Lord for that. That's
fuck
awesome.
Yeah, I'm a hardcore. I talk about God on stage a little bit sometimes.
I do.
And you can see people tuning out. I'm like, listen, man, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, so what if you don't believe? I can't just say, like, I listen to people talk about eating mushrooms and I enjoy it. I don't like eating mushrooms. It kind of freaks me
Right.
out now. Like, but I can still enjoy the experience. I understand
Yes.
that you saw something fucking magical.
Yes.
You know? I don't know. Yeah.
I agree with all that.
How are we doing on time?
I looked at the wrong thing. Oh my gosh, we're already at an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
We're flying.
Yeah, this is fucking
Dude, I love
seamless.
hanging out with you. This is awesome.
We should do a podcast. We should do a podcast where what we should do is a podcast where it's like round robin stories.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like get 4 comics in. You can only interrupt to punch up the stories. But so like
it's a great live
like
show.
where we go. Yeah, like right where we go. All right, so that is a really great live show.
Do that up in the belly room.
4 comics all sitting on stage. We go, okay, so we're going to start it off with best fight story.
Yep.
And then everyone tells their best fight story and we all punch it up. And it just keeps going. You know how, like, I guess the term is a Charlie Topper, or someone who like tries to tell a better story than what you got.
Oh, that's cool. It makes me think, like, I did a little improv at one point, and like people would start like singing a song, and then you would go, oh, and that makes you say this.
Yeah.
And it makes you say it. So it's like you're telling your fight story, then I'm like, oh, you have to start going, oh, what's my fight story? Oh. All right, and then yeah, it'd be great.
The show I really wanted to do was I wanted to do I tried to sell this. I soft pitched it to Comedy Central, but I think it's something we could do at All Things Comedy now. Is I wanted to do almost like a This Is Your Life about comics. So like go bring in 10 of the best comics in the country, or 10 of the best storytelling comics, 10 of the best comics.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be storytelling, but it's just 10 great comics. And then go, all right, today we're talking about Dave Attell, Doug Stanhope, Artie Lang, Nick DiPaolo, and Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
And so everyone tells their best stories about those, and then take all those 10 comics and then put them into episodes. This is the Dave Attell retrospective
Oh, it's
episode.
genius.
And so you're hearing everyone's story about.
Do you know what's
Attell.
so funny?
What?
I battled around with the concept, but they told me it was too dark. It was the opposite of a roast. Because I don't have time for the negativity.
I can't allow myself into that.
I can't even. It hurts too bad. I'm too sensitive.
I'm way too sensitive.
And I don't know what happened to me. Somewhere along the line, I started to feel like I got a second chance at life. I don't know how or what, but just because I grew up in a very Philly's whatever. I feel like Ebenezer Scrooge every day, where I'm like, this is all so beautiful. I'm not worthy of any of this love from God or the universe, or however you want to put it. And I'm like, how can I share this joy with people? And then I was like, it sucks that we wait until somebody dies, that we tell them how we really feel. Like, why? They don't even get to hear what you really think. And I was like, what? And I know this is so dark, But it was like, what if everybody got to tell stories about you that they always wanted to, like moments that we all affect each other's lives in such a positive way.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we don't share that. We can't be like, dude, there was a night I wanted to fucking kill myself. And I saw you at the Comedy Store and you talked and you asked me how it was going. We went and got pizza and I realized everything was going to be okay.
Yeah.
Put all those stories together. It'd be incredible.
There are a lot of guys where I could totally celebrate.
Yeah.
And go like,
Let's celebrate everybody.
That's an interesting.
It's the opposite of a roast. And you know what I said? An hour ago, I was like, dude, I got to stop giving away my ideas on the podcast. Now we're just
gave away mine, too.
exactly. We're just
I
coming.
can't help it.
There's network assistants like, what if we pitched a show that was the opposite of a roast?
Oh, there's so many shows I want to do. There's so many shows I want to do. There's so much I want to do. I feel like what I would like to do is I'd like to micromanage my day in a 4-hour burst. So just work for 4 hours.
That's all you can do, by the way. I don't beat myself up anymore.
And just go within the 4 hours. I'm going to do this project, this project, this project, and this project, and then that'll be my every day. I'll just plug in 4 hours a day and work on 4 projects and get 4 projects I'm running. But then I get distracted and I'm like, I got to book a podcast. Who did we just say I wanted to get? Oh, I want to get Charlie Murphy. I wonder if I can get him on my podcast.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Who was the other person I just said the other day? I was like, we just talked about it. I was like, I want to get that guy on my podcast.
I just remember Charlie Murphy.
Man, I'm getting old.
We go back.
I feel like my brain starts up and then it stops. It goes, I got an idea. Hold on, I'll be right back. And I'm like, wait, where are you going,
buddy?
Yeah, I need to call the Belly Room and see if I can do a night of just stories, and see if I can. I bet I could figure it out. I don't need 1,000 people. I just need, like, what does Belly Room said, 100?
Not even.
I could do that.
Did
I don't know if anyone would show up.
100% they would. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I haven't done a set at the store in a little bit because I've been, like, on the road so much.
Yeah.
I feel really guilty when I'm not at the store a lot, but I feel even more guilty when I don't see my kids.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that Adam's cool with that. And he's like, no, I get it.
Yeah, he's
like,
cool.
I've already got a fucking ton of comics that are trying to get spots. When you don't want a spot, that helps me out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good, but don't forget I'm a comic.
Yes.
like that's all. My only thing is, like, it's so much fun when I'm there, but I always end up partying. I always end up going to the back bar and getting a cocktail. Ron White will walk through and everyone's like, hey, Ron White's drinking. Come on, let's go back there. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Stand-Up's in town. Hey, Marilyn Manson's here. And you're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's the craziest.
But I don't know. So let's tell the machine story, and then I'll tell the machine story, but just interrupt me.
Okay. Because I've seen the shirts.
Yeah.
And Ren is Easy and Ari have told me, and they were like, dude, this is the craziest thing ever.
It's the greatest story. And by the way, I'm going to time it because I'd like to try to see if I can tell you the whole story with what I find interesting in it in, like, under 7 minutes.
Okay.
And normally the story takes 13 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Dude, you want to talk about it? Like, someone said to me, I'm a storyteller, so I'm making fun of you, and I know you're a friend of mine, but I don't remember who you are who said this, but we were working together somewhere. I know who it is. It's I want to say it's Rocky Dale Davis, who I love. Introducing bedtime. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day to keep healthy sleep. What?
That's interesting.
Get started. What time? Why am I doing this now? Can I do this later? Cancel. That's really cool. All right. We'll set a stopwatch. So, yeah. When I was 22, I got involved with the Russian Mafia.
How?
I'm very simply, I started taking Russian classes.
Where?
At Florida State.
Okay, this was at FSU?
Yeah, and I was not a good student. All they needed 14 kids in the class, so the lady that was teaching the class was just like, if you take Russian, I'll give you a C.
That's how you got into it?
Yep. And so I took Russian 1, 2, 3, and 4, never learned a word. And in Russian 4, they're like, we're taking a study abroad trip. If you go, you get a minor. I was like, done, son. So I went to Russia in 1995.
Amazing.
And this, 1995 is when the Russian mob ran everything. And they told us that our very first night. I'm in the back of the room like, this trip just got awesome. They're like, we've paid off these 2 young gangsters. The word for that in Russian is banditi. They go, these banditi are going to live with you. They're going to walk you to class, walk you back from class, take you on field trips. Don't speak to them there in the mafia. I'm like, they're going to be my best friends. So that's what I did. First night, grabbed a bottle of vodka, knocked on their door, had a sentence all planned out. I studied it all day. But the second I'm face to face with a real Russian gangster, it floods out of my head. And all I say to him in Russian in his doorway was, I am the machine. And that's what he starts doing. He goes, what? I'm like, I'm the machine. Brings me in a room full of 9 Russian gangsters all drinking and just goes, everyone stop. Tell them what you said. And I'm like, I'm the machine. And they loved me. They loved me. And we partied all summer. All summer. The guy that answered the door, Igor, was like my best friend. We stole a boat, ran a pool hall scam. And then one day, we take an overnight trip to Moscow. And Igor tells me, he goes, I can't go. I said, why not? And he goes, different mafia runs train, different mafia runs Moscow. He's like, don't worry. I just said a bandito, they'll take care of you. So he introduces me to my 2 new gangsters for the train, Igor and Igor. And he says to him, he goes, guys, this is the machine. If you give the machine vodka, you'll have a great time.
Wow.
And the bigger the 2 Igors is ready for me. He's excited. He's like, I can't wait to play with the machine. Like, I'm like, he's like, the machine sits in first class. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Booze, food, and as we take off, everyone that works on the train comes in to pay their respects. The conductor rips off the stars and stripes to his shirt, gives them to me, and goes, this is a present for the machine. I'm 22 years old going, oh, these machine stories might have gotten out of control.
Oh,
Dude,
my gosh.
we go to the bar cart to get more vodka, and Igor says to me in Russian, he goes, machine, go behind the bar and grab bread. In Russian, and I understood him. Finally, I'm like, I'm learning the language. I'm learning the language not through flashcards and textbooks, but by joining the mafia. Behind the bar, like, Igor, I know what you said. He's like, go for you, machine. Can you find cheese? And I was like, Sir. He's like, can you find vodka? I was like, I already know that one. Give me another one. He's like, grab the money. I'm like, huh? He goes, grab the money. And I realize we're robbing the bar cart, and I'm the one doing it hooked on phonic style. Grab the money, walk out. 2 of my classmates see me, and they're like, you're in so much trouble. Within 5 minutes, head chaperone comes to our first class cabin door, opens it with that liberal arts confidence. It's like, this is over. You're done. Like, lighten me up. You're done. Igor looks at me confused.
Yeah.
Takes a big sip of vodka, spits it in her eyes, and goes, no one talks to the machine like that.
Oh, my gosh.
Shuts the door in her face, and he's like, screw that bitch. This is Russia. Don't worry.
Suka.
when we get done, because when it gets dark, we have good time. I'm like, what are we doing when it gets dark? Reaches in his pocket, pulls out a ring of keys, and he's like, we're robbing the whole train.
Holy shit.
So I think I'm a good person. I think my first response to that statement would be, not me. I'm going to go back and work on my verbs. Apparently, that's not who I am. And so when he said that, I just was like, all right, let's start with my class. So we robbed them first, then robbed the whole train, and then came back.
What do you mean you robbed them? Did you put masks on and have guns?
No, we wait till they fell asleep, went in, and as they were sleeping, someone would open the door, someone would crawl in, pull the bags out. I'd go through the bags. We'd slide the bags back in, shut the door, next train, next thing.
Nobody woke up? Nobody caught you?
If they woke up, Igor would spit vodka in their eyes.
Oh, my gosh.
Rob the whole train. Go back, drink all night, Russian style until 6 a.m. Train pulls into Moscow, sun's up, door opens, same teacher, not mad. Smiling, which is odd. Looks at me and goes, I want to be the one to tell you they've alerted the police. And I look out and I see the whole class in their pajamas talking to 2 police officers. They're upset. They've been robbed. I get it. Igor says, don't worry, I speak to police for both of us. Goes out to the cop, who's taking a statement, grabs him by the arm, and starts shouting him in Russian, like just pointing into his mouth, like literally yelling at this guy. And I'm sitting in the back going, this isn't how I would have approached this situation. Now the cop's just staring at me, and I hear him bark out, "Pойдем, which I don't even know what that means, but it doesn't sound like, you're okay, stay there.
Yeah.
Walk out to the cop, who's standing in front of the class I just robbed, next to the gangster I robbed them with. And my only thought at that time was, this isn't how I plan on spending my second junior year.
My second junior.
I get 5 steps from the cop, who looks impatient. He takes 2 big steps, grabs me by the arm, spins me away from my class, away from Igor, pulls me right to his face, and he goes, so, I understand you're the machine. He's like, tonight you party with us. I go, wait, I'm not in trouble? And he gets so close to me, I can smell his morning cigarette, and he goes, no, screw that bitch. This is Russia.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
6 minutes. That was 6 minutes.
God. That's the best thing I've ever heard.
That was 6 minutes. If I could tell it, and I could probably shorten that.
What are you getting it ready for?
Conan.
Oh, that's awesome.
I just want to have it, like if he wants me to tell the whole story, I want to tell it in under 7 minutes, but I want to be able to tell it and then him be able to switch subjects and me not have to tell the whole story.
Dude, that's incredible.
It's the best story that's ever happened. So what the crazy thing is, it went viral on Facebook. The reason it went viral, I think, is that the first few people to comment on it were obviously friends of mine because it's Facebook.
Yeah.
And it was kids from the class.
That knew.
And they were like, yes, Bert totally robbed us. By the way, here's pictures of everybody.
Oh.
And they posted pictures in all the comment section. So then the first,
Authenticity.
say, million people that saw this were like, holy crap, this is a true story. And they shared it. And then all those people were like, holy crap, this is a true story. And then people who heard it was like, that was true? I didn't care that it was true. They were like, it's a good story. It's true. So that's why it went viral.
Do you have any more Machine t-shirts?
Yeah.
Can I buy one?
I'll just give you one. Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah, of course, yeah. I'm trying to make a Mickey Mantle jean t-shirt, but I can't. I'm having a hard time doing it. That's my new... I mean, it's just something I've always said is I got the Mickey Mantle jean, but Rogan and Segura just mocked it the whole time.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so I want to tell
Dude,
that.
I have a buddy of mine that worked like in sports marketing. He was like one of the pioneers in it.
Yeah.
So he was a huge Mickey Mantle fan.
Yeah.
So he said like when pagers were becoming popular,
Yeah.
he got Mickey Mantle a deal where he got like to be the celebrity endorser for this line of pagers. And it was right when they blew up, and he got like Mickey Mantle like $2 a month for every one that got sold or something like that. It made Mickey Mantle a ton of money. So they became like best friends and drinking buddies.
Oh, my God.
And he said he was in Mickey Mantle's bar once, and he was like, Mickey Mantle could be a real asshole. And the father came over with a kid, and Mickey had been drinking, and he was like, and Mickey Mantle was a dick. And the guy leaves like heartbroken with his kid. My buddy looks at him. He's like, you know what, Mick, you're a real fucking asshole. And he was like, what did you say? And he called him out. So then the guy Mickey Mantle realizes he's being a dick, comes back. That my friend gets the guy and his kid,
Yeah.
signs autographs for him, takes a picture, and then Mickey Mantle signed him an autograph that said, to John, you underlined are the real fucking asshole, Mickey Mantle. And I'm like, how awesome is to have an F-bomb autograph from Mickey Mantle?
Fuck yes. I found, like, I always was drawn to, like, guys like Mickey Mantle, John Daly, like, guys that, like, would go out and party and then perform the next day.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like that was, like, there are people who are like, no, game tomorrow. I got to get to bed by 7.
Yes.
I wish I was that guy, but what would happen to me is I'd stay up all night worrying about the game.
I knew it right away. I was gonna say, would you get nervous? Would you get in your head?
And what's interesting is, like, before my specials, I never drink before, like when I'm leading up to a special, I don't drink, so I like to be sharp and I like to be...
Yes.
And I think that does apply to stand-up, because you don't want to be hungover and be like, fuck, I started sweating in the middle of it.
Years
like
ago, I learned my lesson. I don't drink on stage. I stopped drinking. Like, it was terrible.
Oh,
It got out of control.
I always bring a
I did
beer
like
on
21
stage.
shots or something.
Oh, yeah.
Because people just kept on sending them up to me to see if they could... And I didn't realize it started to become sport for them.
Oh, yeah.
And they would be like, 19. And I'm like,
I just tell the bar, don't send them up. I go, don't send up shots. And I go, don't let anyone walk a shot up the stage. I don't trust that shit.
And no, and that's what somebody else told me. They were like, dude, somebody could have put drugs in there. They could have put poison in there. I was like, oh my
Gary
God.
Valentine got roofied one time.
How do you know if you've been roofied?
I've been roofied.
How do you know?
Good night. And you're like, wow, that's crazy. I woke up and I was in a front lawn. How did I get there?
Oh, you don't remember anything.
Yeah, you don't remember anything. Like, you don't remember anything.
God, that's frightening.
Yeah. I think I might have been roofied in Tampa. Either that or I roofied myself.
Yeah.
So what's even funnier is I was in Phoenix one time, and this guy walked up with a shot, and he just looked sketchy.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he was like, hey, let's do a shot. And I was like, I don't really take shots from... He goes, just do a fucking shot, man. I bought you a shot. Just take the shot. Come on. And I go, well, how do I know there's not something in that? And he goes, well, you think I roofied you? I was like, I don't know. And he goes, hey, man, no offense. Say I do roofie you. What am I supposed to do with this body? And I was like, oh, that's right. I'm a big guy to get out of a bar. Like, what do you have, a wheelbarrow? Like, how are you going to get me out of the fucking bar? And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess I'm safe. Like, because if I do pass out, I just go here. I land here.
Andre the Giant style,
Yeah,
500
like, who's
beers
going to
in.
roofie Andre the Giant? He was roofie-less.
You know that story where he drank like something like 500 beers and they just put a sheet over him because they couldn't move him from the bar?
Are you serious?
Yeah. Roddy Piper, God rest his soul, had the best drinking stories ever. I really wish you and Roddy would have did a drinking podcast.
If anyone says serious, my phone automatically goes, huh? Did you need me?
So what got you into booze? Do you remember the first beer you ever had? Like,
Yeah, I remember the first beer. It was with Alan Rieger and Cayman Lazera, and we were freshmen in high school, and we went out behind Adam's house, and we each had, like, maybe I had a beer. Maybe
Yeah.
we had 3 beers tops.
Yes.
But I was definitely buzzed. And Mrs. Rieger, we walked out in front of the house, and we were with these girls, Allison Williams, Jenny Powers, Corey Rabaya, Natalie Annis, and we were all like, we're all wasted. We're so hammered.
Yeah.
And everyone thought we were cool.
yes.
And then Mrs. Rieger called. She's like, boys, come inside. I need to talk to you. So we go inside, and she is like, and she sits at their kitchen table, and she dumps out all the beers on the table, the empty beer cans. She had gone and collected them. And she's like, whose are these? And we're like, we were like, what was his name? Chris. We said it. We blamed it on Chris. Oh, what was his name? I wish I could remember his name. He had red hair. We blamed it on him and Ryan Quinn. And we were like, they're theirs. And they were like, seriously? And we're like, no, they're theirs. We weren't drinking. The overwhelming feeling I had in that moment, I wish there was a word for this. I wish there was a word for the thing where shit goes down, but your brain thinks of the weird thing. It doesn't think of the thing it should be thinking of.
Yes.
It goes like in that moment, I remember going, I'm gonna get in trouble for drinking. My parents are gonna find out. I'm in 9th grade. This could be a big problem. But that wasn't my overwhelming thought. My overwhelming thought was, I'm amazed at how this fluid could make me care less about this situation. I was like, that is impressive. I was like,
that's a very self-aware thought to have as a 14-year-old kid. Like,
I remember,
hey,
yeah.
I know this should be concerning me, but somehow this liquid changed my perspective on
I was
things.
like, I am oddly cool in this moment. Like, she asked me if we were lying, and I was like, no. And I was like, that was sellable. I was like, had I not been drinking, she would know I'd been drinking. And I was just so...
the sickness is the cure.
And I was like, wow. I remember being like, it was a little tingly. And I go, it just feels like, it feels right. And I wasn't a big drinker ever until like I went to Russia. And then when I went to Russia, I remember having an oddly surreal feeling that first or second night I partied with the mafia where I was like, hey man, beer makes everyone a little cooler to be around. There's no like real pressure. Like when you hung out with the mob and you were sober, they were oddly distant and not really congeniable. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
like it was really tough sometimes to like, not with Igor, but with the rest of his friends. Like if you walked in, they were like, who the fuck is this guy? But if you drank with them, they were like, this guy's great. And I was making everyone laugh. And I was like, you know what? I can't believe I didn't do this more in college. I can't believe I sat with people sober more. And so when I came back from Florida State, my girlfriend at the time had slept with my best friend.
Wow.
And so within 5 days of being home, I found that out and found out I got the clap from them. And I was like, fuck, man. So like this great story I had, I only told it to like a handful of people because for the most part, my reality was I am humiliated. I'm a cuckold.
Yeah.
And I've got a venereal disease and I've only had sex with 2 people in my life at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like fucking floored. And my buddy Mike Osborne said to me that first night where I realized this is a little bit of a game changer. Like this is a game changer in who I will be for the rest of my life. I will never be cool, calm, Bert, everything's perfect, no worries in this world. I got it going on, you know. I wouldn't say I was technically a party animal at the time, but I definitely threw all the parties.
Yes.
I didn't drink a lot at the time.
Yeah.
Up until that point.
You were already cool. Like you were accepted and fun. And
yeah, I was the funniest guy in my fraternity.
Yeah.
I organized all the socials. I would have been social chairman for like 3 years running. And no one was going to stop me from being social chair because I threw the greatest parties. I mean, just epic.
Where'd that come from? Do you have crazy uncles?
I had crazy uncles. My mom. We never really partied much as a kid, but I remember I have big ideas. Like I've always had really big ideas.
Me too.
And a lot of which in Hollywood get shot down. like where you like I had a show called Black versus White, where I wanted me and a black guy to compete to find out who the superior race was every week. And I was like, and everyone in Hollywood, no one would buy it because they were like, nah. And I was like, but you understand that if you did have the balls to buy it and you did air it, yeah, there would be protests, but more than anything, everyone would tune in and go, come on, white people, come on, black people. And then someone would go, where the fuck are Mexicans at, But and it would be a fucking lighthearted, fun show between friends, so there would be no hatred. It would be fucking bringing people together, and no one
when you could see the similarity, like there are no strangers. Like once you get to really know people, it's like, oh my God, we're all
And so, but in college, I remember going to throw the first party, and I was like, I remember being like, we should fill the lounge with water. And everyone's like, what? I go, I bet we could do it. Like up to the windows. So what we'll do is we'll put Visqueen. We'll Visqueen it off and we'll make it waterproof.
What's Visqueen?
Visqueen was the party starter in college.
Okay.
So we Visqueened off the lounge. It's like, it's this. It's thick plastic.
Okay.
Really thick plastic. It comes in like 50 by 50 sheets folded up, and it would be black. You get it at blue, you could get it clear. So we got blue Visqueen, or I want maybe black Visqueen, and we went through. We put it out in the yard, very meticulously, and made it as big as the measurements of the lounge. And then we taped it off very aggressively, and we double layered it. Then we folded it up so that it was in this little square. Brought it into the center of the lounge, cleared out the lounge, and then just unfolded it, and it just went up the walls. And then we taped it to the walls. And so now it's taped. I mean, people were coming and going, you're a fucking idiot. But that was the difference. You're a fucking idiot. And then, but no one was saying no.
That's awesome.
And so we filled up the lounge with water. And it was the greatest party you've ever been to in your life. Like, fucking everyone's just in this one room filled with water, just having a fucking blast. And then and then I'd go, we should do a party where one party was like, I just came in, I went into chapter, and I was like, I want to do a party called Unga Gunga Balunga. And they're like, what is it?
From Caddyshack?
Thank you. So I'd had a dream, and I just said to them, guys, I had a dream. Like if I could have ever been one thing better than a comic, it would have been like a inspirational speaker, or like I go, I had a dream. I said we were all stranded on an island with tridelts, and the whole point of this, and I just told them this story, and the whole fucking fraternity was into it, and they're like, fuck it, let's do it. I go, we're doing it Thursday. We need a king, and we need to carry him through campus in the middle of the afternoon, all in grass skirts, no underwear, grass skirts on a throne. And so we just did it, and it was and we got this guy Chili Willy to be king, Unga Gunga Balunga, and it was like fucking 180 dudes, all in grass skirts, war paint, just chanting through the school, and everyone was staring at us. It was a cool feeling, and then we got to the Tri-Adult house. They didn't know we were having a social that night. They had no clue.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we just walked over, and we knocked on their door, and it happened to be dinner time at like 5 o'clock.
Dude, that's an amazing, like, there's nothing better than, like, I love donuts.
Yeah.
But the best feeling in life is when you walk into a kitchen and there's surprise donuts. You're like, can anybody have one of these?
That's my problem with drinking.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you did that with a party? You just brought the party to their house?
We just showed up to their house, and we said, tonight, and so then I said to Willie, who by the way was really funny and kind of missed his career as a comic, I said, you just say shit in a language, and I'll translate. So to give me time to think of what I needed to say, and he was like, Mitsubishi, Subaru, Canon camera.
Do you ever see that Happy Days where Ralph Malph and Potsy and Richie like go to a cabin and there's chicks, and I think it was Ralph Malph and Potsy pretended to be from another country.
No.
And Ritzy translated for them so they could get chicks. And I just remember Ralph going, mock, like when he liked something.
Mock.
Yeah,
it was like that. And these girls, all the girls came out, and we all knew them very well. I want to say I might have been hooking up with this one girl. I think it was right before I cheated on my girlfriend before I went to Russia. And this girl became like the love of my life. Like to this day, one of my best friends in the world. Like, we ended up living together in New York. Like not sexually, but like living together in New York. She's one of the greatest human beings I love her I will always love her. But she was out there, and like all these girls just came out, and they were coming out, and I opened the windows and we're looking out, and it was really like, it was crazy. And then we're like, the party is tonight, and at midnight, we're gonna do a ceremony or something. And so these girls, it's fucking Tuesday night or Thursday night,
the best.
And these girls were like, all fucking came out. and they were all barely naked with just grass skirts and war paint. And we filled the whole house with sand. We made a slide going from the second floor down around the corner into the first floor. I mean, it was just like, it was this, I mean, fucking insane. We built a big pool in our cafeteria, like our dining hall. We built a big pool, and it became like the most epic party we had ever had. And so, and then the next year they're like, I mean, everyone's like, we got to take it big. And so like the final year we had it, the final year I was there, we had it. And I think I'd probably distanced myself from social chair at the time. I was there 7 years. So, you know, and so, but I told them, I was like, they're like, how
7 years of college down the drain.
I go, how do we get this? I remember the social chairman at the time was like, how do we take this big? And I was like, let me be in charge of like, just making sure it's epic. You set up everything in here and I'll make sure it's epic. So I got us, this is fucking horrible. I got us like a fucking like 10-foot python. I got.
How?
I just one of our fraternity brothers had one. I said I'd like to put him up on a tree. We had a tree in the middle of the dining hall. I said I'd just like to have him hanging from the tree. And he's like, yeah, you won't fucking move. So we wrapped him up in the tree and he just stayed there. I got chickens. I got goats. I got animals to be all over the place.
How?
Just bought them. Just fucking. You could just go out to a farm. Go. I'll take. You know, chickens are like super fucking cheap. So like,
How much is a chicken?
Well, I want to say we got these for like $1 a piece. They send them to you in like a little fucking. You can order them online and they'll send them to you in like boxes, little tiny boxes. You get a check; it'll be there in a day. You can send someone chickens tomorrow and then be like, "What the fuck do I do with this?"
That's awesome.
I'm guessing on prices, but I remember top billing ever. Like animals were like our thing. There was a period where we're gonna fucking cook a pig tonight, and you just go out and buy a pig. It was nothing, and they'd cut it up for you, and they'd bring it in, bury it in a hole. I think we cooked a pig. You just buried it in the ground, so that's
Hawaiian
cooking in the
style.
backyard.
That's
It was really
amazing.
fucking insane, except like a fucking misstep. I think I allotted some of the money for cocaine and ecstasy, and just started handing it out. Like people were coming in. I was like, we used to call them beans back then. I was like, you up for a party bean? You up for a bean? Groove mix is what we call cocaine.
Groove mix.
And they were like, yeah. And so everyone got way too fucking high. And then people started killing the animals. And I think we got in a lot of trouble.
Jesus.
It was a fucking horrible idea. I remember. Because, it was a lot of rednecks.
It got really bad,
It got really
man.
bad. It was like rednecks. Like my wife's a redneck. She loves animals, but she doesn't have a problem killing an animal. Like it's in her sweet spot.
Yes.
Like we killed a chicken when we were out at their house in Georgia, and it's just you just grab by the neck and spin it around. It breaks its neck. And I remember seeing one guy was like, "I'm fucking hungry." He just grabbed a chicken, broke it up, defeathered it, put it in the deep fryer, made fried chicken. And everyone's eating fried chicken. Like, someone go grab another chicken. And I was like, "Oh God!" And then in my head, I was like, "Hey, wait, let's not kill the animals." And then the guy's like, "Why? What are we gonna do? Give them back? We're gonna have fucking 20 chickens running around the house." He's like, "Let's cook them up." And I was like, "Oh God!" I was like, "I'm going home. I'm gonna be wallowing in this fucking mistake." But yeah, we've done that.
I'm just trying to have fun.
We did that. Anytime you involve an animal, you really forget the responsibility you have as an adult.
Yes.
Like, because you think, oh, it'll be fun. Like we did a pilot. Me, Brett Ernst, and Theo Vaughn did a pilot for TBS where we started a fraternity. So
Hilarious.
which by the way, totally backfired. Totally backfired.
How did that not work?
Well, we put out an ad in Craigslist. Hey, are you lost? Are you a man? Are you lost? Do you feel like you don't know what the fuck you're gonna do in life? Do you feel like you're not having fun anymore? Do you want to just relive the glory days? Join our fraternity. Meet us at Boone and Murray at fucking what?
Yeah, so it's like old school, the reality show.
Yes, except you got to remember the people that would reply to that are probably genuinely fucking lost. It's not gonna
I was going to say it should have been like, let's have some laughs. Who likes beer and boobs and fun?
One dude was gotten out of Iraq or Afghanistan. He had hardcore PTSD. Another guy, one guy's dead now.
Oh God!
Another guy was just recently engaged, and like the first night, like idiots, it's me, Brett, and Theo organizing this.
Yeah.
So we're like, we want to have a party. We're not going to invite girls. We're ordering whores and porn stars. So we got a bunch of prostitutes and porn stars. This guy comes up to me. He's like, "I think I cheated on my wife." I'm like, "Oh God!" I was
Did
like,
they get all that stuff on camera?
no. He's like, Bert, I know you're supposed to be one of my leaders, man. I think I cheated on my wife. And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Everyone cheats, I guess. Maybe.
Oh God.
Shit happens. It's a TV show. Don't worry about it. It's not real. It's not real. And he was like, really? I go, yeah, you were doing it as a character, right? And he was like, there was no camera. We were just in the bathroom. And I was like, yeah, but you knew you had a mic on. He goes, I had a mic on? I'm like, oh, never mind. It was fucking... I mean, there was a point where like cameramen were just holding the cameras going, I can't fucking film this. Like, it was a beautiful fucking house. But one of the points is we had organized to steal a goat for our mascot for our fraternity.
Yeah.
So they like in production was a little, I would say, lackluster, and I say that respectfully. It was just very complicated to try to produce this. So
Yes.
we're in this party bus, and we're like, all right, we need a mascot. And I knew there was an address that we could go to, that we had purchased a goat, so we could go, and the farmer knew we were just going to go grab a goat.
Yeah.
But they did. No one in the van knew, and so we go up, and I was like, here, pull over here. So, and I think I have a walkie. So I pull over here. So I go, all right, guys, we're going down. And so I was like, all right. And so I was just going to go down the street. But fucking Ernst is like, come on, taking goat. Like, I don't even think Ernst knew we were greenlit to steal the goat because I wanted to keep it real. And he's like, gonna take the back route. Approach from the south.
He's
and
like,
I was like,
he's like Billy Martin in that classic Mickey Mantle story, shooting the horse.
yeah. He goes, come on. And then they just disappear. I go, where the fuck did they go? And then they're disappearing. And then one of the producers comes up and like, this is the wrong address. And I was like, what? He's like, you're supposed to go a mile down. It's on the right. So get everyone back in the car. And I go, okay. I was like, guys. And all of a sudden, Brett and fucking this other guy, Killian, come out with a fucking goat. And I was like, oh, fuck, we really stole a goat. I was like, in the car.
Go.
I was like, abort. we just got to go. Let's go. Someone go back and pay that farmer for his goat. And so we really stole a fucking goat. And then, I mean, this whole thing was like this. Like, they set up a powder puff game of us to play female football players. But like it was just, and I don't mean this out of disrespect to Boone and Murray, but like, it was just not totally properly produced.
Yeah.
So like all of us are showing up in jeans and t-shirts, and it's raining and it's cold.
Yeah.
And we're drunk. Well, that was the other thing, is they couldn't control our drinking. So we were drunk 100% of the day. Like, when we woke up, we started drinking. When we drank the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
So we go to do the powder puff game, and all the girls are in pads, and we're like, hey man, this is gonna hurt. And they're like, oh, like the producer's like, that's the point. Like, we want to make it fair. And so we play like the first round, and the girls are like fucking hitting us hard as shit, and they score, and Brett Ernst is like, fuck this. He's like, team meeting. And all the girls are lined up for the fucking kickoff, right?
Yeah.
They're going to kick off to us. And he's like, and Brett gives the most moving speech. Fuck these bitches. We're going to fucking light these whores up. Do you understand me? I want to see these girls bleeding on the fucking floor.
Did he really
No
say all
holds
this?
barred. They're taking hits at us. You want equality? I'm showing these bitches equality. The ball goes to him. We give it to the biggest guy.
Yes.
The ball goes to him. Everyone protect him. I know football. I want a wedge, okay? I will lead the wedge. And when you go at these bitches, take their fucking knees out. I want them Dude, we could have been arrested for spousal abuse. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
we beat the fuck out of these women to the point where, like, we just came through and we're clotheslining bitches, and they're just like, ugh, and then the girls are like, what are you guys doing? This is just for TV. And we're like, no, you were hitting us hard. Now we're hitting you hard. This is a real fucking game.
This
It was
would be the best.
And they're going, we can't use any of this. We can't use any of this. You guys are beating up women. And we're like, we're playing football. They want to play football. They have pads. We don't have fucking pads. This is how you play fucking football.
Oh.
And, I mean, it was fucking epic. And they're like, great, won't be able to use any of that.
That's incredible.
Oh, dude, it was the greatest show I've ever shot that no one will ever see. It was so fucking funny. We got a band. So we got all these prostitutes, all these porn stars, and we get a band, and the band, I mean, I did not organize the band, but the band was fucking amazing. They show up, they're three girls. All they can do is sing. They don't really even play instruments. They got a whole male band behind them. And in their rider was, we need 10 bottles of Jack Daniels, and we need 20 pillows. And so
What's
we're like,
the name of this band?
I don't know. I wish I could remember the name. They were fucking amazing. They show up. They have black tape like eye black under their
Yeah.
eyes. On their nipples is a black X. They're in the most amazing shape you've ever seen. And on their vaginas is just a piece of black tape covering. They're totally shaved, just covering what would be the working part of their vagina, just a piece of black tape. And they're naked. And they have like knee-high leather boots on. And their hairs are in like little fucking crazy buns, ponytails. And they're like, "Are you motherfuckers ready to party?" We're like, "This is going on TBS. Like, can we clean up the language?" And they're like, "Fuck you. You want to fucking party? Let's fucking party." And they're like, "Where the fuck's Bert?" And I'm in like a onesie, I think at the time. And I'm like, "Right here." And they're like, "Get over here, motherfucker." And they each take a sip of vodka and then grab me and spit it in my mouth and then pass me down the line. I've now done 3 large mouthfuls of Jack Daniels, not vodka, Jack Daniels. And I'm like, holy shit. And they're like, "Let's go." They jump on my back. They start beating us with pillows. All the feathers go everywhere. And I'm just like, oh, this is the best party I've ever been to in my life. We have porn stars and hookers floating around everywhere, grabbing everyone's dicks. It is. And then someone's like, "Let's jump off the house into the pool." Because the house is like 3 stories above the pool. Now we're all jumping. People are naked, jumping into the pool. The producers are like, "We need to slow this down. This is happening way too
I was
fast."
just imagining there's some poor production assistant that's going to move back to Iowa and it tells these stories for the rest of his life.
It was so like, I mean, we had a hockey rink. I don't know what we were doing on a hockey rink, but we had a hockey rink for the day. And so we went out to go on the hockey rink. And, you know, Brett is, God love Brett, but he's like, "Dude, we're going to reenact Rocky." And you're like, how? And then someone like falls and cracks their head on the ice. And we're like,
Jesus.
"Oh, should we go to take him to the hospital?" And they're like, "He'll be fine. Drink it off." It was, I'm telling you, man, it was the craziest fucking 2 days of my life. It was 2 fucking
Wait, that
days.
was just 2 days? All that happened in 2 days?
We left Friday night. We partied Saturday. We came home Sunday.
Oh my gosh.
It was insane. Sunday was the day we played football with the porn star, with the girls. We did one of the ice skating rink on Sunday. And then Sunday night we had an initiation, and then everyone got initiated, and we took their badge and we stapled it on their chest. It was, dude,
crazy.
If I could get the unedited version of this, it could be a movie. It was so. I remember there's a point where Theo is with one of the porn stars, and he's like, "I'll be right back." And we're like, "Okay." And the sound guy comes up, and he's like, "Come here." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "You want to hear this?" And I just take my headsets off, and I put on my headsets, and you just hear hardcore fucking, just. And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "I think Theo's using the restroom."
Oh,
like it was just fucking like he had totally mic'd, and he just fucking, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. And Theo's like, "Hey, want to go to the bathroom with me?" It was fucking insane, dude.
That's crazy.
It was the craziest.
Dude, how did you get this life? Your life is.
I do have some pretty crazy stories when I think about it. I do have some pretty crazy stories.
I mean, the story you told on Ari's show is one of the hardest I've ever laughed in my
flying
life.
dildos.
Yeah.
Yeah, flying dildos is that was the story I had a hard time telling on stage because it's true. Obviously, all my stories are true, but that one's so true, and I told it, and then the ending is what it is. The ending is the dildo gets shoved in my mouth, and
I think the funniest part about that whole story was the reveal in the Anne Frank house.
Oh yeah.
Where I'm like, that to me is the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, but like those are all real people in it, so like I couldn't change any of the facts. I felt weird changing the facts to make it shorter.
I won't do I don't like when people are like, "You should do it, tell it like this." I'm like, but that's not how it happens.
Yeah, and
now will I embellish at times if somebody was 5'11" when I'd be like, "Dude, this guy was 6'3", 400." You know what I mean?
I don't mind hiding facts, like not telling you things that happen so that it heightens the story.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't mind if someone says a line differently just to make it a little better. But I can't
lie.
Like I can't be like, I have a hard time like full blown lying in a story to make it.
Yeah,
a better
I can't do
ending.
that. Like I told a story once about this gang member, and I said, "Oh, he was the scariest human being I've ever met." I don't know if that's true.
Oh,
but I was definitely scared. He was top 5.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where you're like, "Oh Jesus."
I describe when I first met Igor. I describe him very scary. but he wasn't actually all that scary. And I think that's
Sometimes they're the scariest people.
yeah. Well, what's funny is all the things I describe about him are things I learned afterwards about him.
Interesting.
And so I always go, God damn it, man! I would have never said a fucking word. But like now, you can see pictures of Igor online. They're all over now. Him and Sasha and.
Do you still stay in touch with him?
No, and I'm a little nervous because I was like, this guy's in the mafia, and then everyone posts pictures of him, and now I'm like, oh, I don't know if that was cool.
Yeah,
I told the story not knowing that you can't be a modern day Mark Twain. And just
that's what I would call your storytelling show, modern day Mark Twain.
Modern day Mark Twain. Hashtag Mark Twain. How much time have we done?
I don't know. I gotta go.
Yeah, I
do
gotta
stuff, dude. I could hang out with you all day.
Yeah, this is a great fucking podcast.
Dude, it's so much fun.
This is a fucking blast.
So much fun. I love you, bro.
I appreciate you letting me do that because that gives me a lot of confidence going into Conan. I can tell it.
When are you going to do it on Conan?
Tuesday.
Oh, that's awesome.
I leave for Boston tomorrow morning. I'm in Boston
for the Wilbur?
Saturday night. Yeah.
Oh, you haven't even done the sold out show yet?
No.
Oh, you're gonna have so much fun.
I hope. And then
I love that city.
Yeah, they were like, but it's so we'll see. I'll be back Sunday. I won't drink Sunday night. Monday I won't drink.
Well, if you ever want a sober ride to the Comedy Store, let me know.
Okay.
I
live around here?
Yeah, I live in Sherman Oaks.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, so I'm 5 minutes away. This is on my way home.
By the way, I'll hit you up a lot.
Yeah, dude, I drive by all the time.
I'll just text
That's how
you
I get to the
If I
store.
got a spot, I'll just give you a text and say, hey, what time are you going by the store?
Dude, that would be the best.
Awesome. Did we share numbers or just emails?
I think I got your number.
I think I have your number. I think I texted you. Yeah.
Yep, got it.
My daughter saw my phone the other day. Hang on, who's this? My daughter saw my phone the other day and she goes, is your phone ever fully charged? And I was like, no, I'm always out of battery. And she's like, you should change that about yourself. And I was like, oh, it's too hard. And she goes, no, just get a charger and put it next to your bed. That could really help. And I went, I guess you're right. She's like, no, that's what I did. And I was like, well, you're 12 and that's what you did. You just said, Mom, can you buy... couldn't even do it herself. She's like, Mom, can you buy me a charger so I can keep one next to my bed so that I can charge my phone at night so I always have a full phone when I go to school? And I went, yeah, I guess I can do that. She goes, no, you can totally do that, Dad. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll go on Amazon.com and get an alarm clock that has a charger so I can plug my... I was like, yeah, why wouldn't I do that?
Yep.
Just fucking lazy.
Genius, though.
Speaking of which, I'm going to work out. I'm going to run 9 miles today and feel good.
You can run 9 miles?
Oh, I do it every day, just about.
That's
I don't run the whole 9 miles. What I'll do is I'll turn on the TV and I'll walk like a solid two, and then run.
You get the warm up going.
Yeah,
Start doing
run a
intervals.
third, fourth mile, and then take a break, go do some shit, pick up the girls at school, come back, get on the treadmill before dinner, do like 2 more miles, then come back, and then at the end of the night, everyone's in bed, hop on, do another 2 more
Dude,
miles.
I'm so proud of you. Because it's all connected, mind, body, soul. It's all connected. You can't get one stronger without...
I feel like that's very fucking accurate.
It's 100% true. There's
Mind, body,
universal
soul.
truths. And once you make one stronger, it's going to force you to raise your game in the other things.
Fuck yeah.
It's awesome. I love you, bro. Thank you so much for doing this.
I love you too, man. Thank you so much, Steve.
Mom, I look back on all the things they used to do. Never had no money, and they always told the truth. Daddy didn't need no little toys.
So that was Bert Kreischer. So thank you so much, Bert, for being on the podcast. I love you, buddy. Dude, you're the coolest. I had the best day that day because it was the day you and Renazizi were working together.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Then you went to your house.
Then this is what happened. He goes, are you hungry? I was like, yes. And I was like, let's go to Domingo's because I used all my carbs in one shot. They have a new sandwich there.
What do they have?
It's called the Atomic Balsamic.
Okay. I like the start of it.
Okay. This is what it is. Carlo just invented it. So you take delicious, homemade, fresh, from scratch, daily ciabatta bread from Domingo's.
Good start.
Good start. And then essentially what it is, I don't know all the ingredients, but it's essentially like a spicy Italian style ham and cheese, straight up. Like ham and cheese sandwich, but they use pepper jack. They use a sweet balsamic vinegar, pepper jack, I think there's a spicy mustard on there with jalapenos, and then like 4 different kinds of Italian ham. It's one of the most delicious things I've ever had. In fact, when my cheat day starts, I think I'm going to go get like one of those, their Italian beef and a meatball sandwich.
If I was speaking my real truth right now and I was doing really what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
I'd be leaving right now and going and getting one of those. Like, I don't even want to finish this. Like, that sounds so
It
amazing.
really is that good. Like, you have to make a decision when something's that delicious where you're like, am I just going to crush it as fast as possible, or am I going to try to slow down and enjoy it? And there's no right or wrong answer to that.
See, that's why I think it's almost sometimes you have to almost get like a second one to share. That's why it's good to go with someone. So like you
Yes.
each get a sandwich, but then maybe
Chinese food style. The
You
best
have
way,
to.
yeah, this is what you have to do. This is what I think. You bring as many buddies as you can, everybody, and you order a bunch of different sandwiches and you get them to cut it in thirds. So you can get a taste of everything.
right, and because especially when you first get there, you're gonna be so hungry, you're gonna eat a little bit too fast.
Yes, you're not going to really remember it or enjoy it.
Because it's so and that's why like I usually get like 3/4 of a way through a sandwich and then I start realizing
It's almost gone.
it's delicious.
Yeah.
So that's go with friends.
And definitely do it as a cheat, like for fun. Like, be prepared to have more than one sandwich.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area of Encino. Go on a walk.
Yeah, there's a cool Karate Kid mural around the corner.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have done that. That's the way to do it. Is to really go. I would love to do that. Is just go in the morning with a computer and just order like 2 meals there, like breakfast and lunch,
That would be the best.
or lunch and dinner. I don't know how it works, but now I'm just hungry.
Yeah, me too. And I'm grateful. I was grateful. Let's start the gratitude list, man. I was grateful for that day. I got to hang out with Bert Kreischer, then went and had lunch with Steve Renazizi.
That is a great day.
Great day.
I'm grateful for all my friends who keep helping me. Like honestly, thank you. People keep recommending me. Like I got to meet Steve, which
He's
is
the
very cool.
coolest,
Yeah,
right?
He's very cool, very nice, and I'm just grateful for that.
I am grateful for my buddy Ryan at Don Carlos, because he bought me a plane ticket to go see my parents, and I had so much fun. I probably wrote another hour's worth of material just hanging out with my parents.
Just as last week.
It was so much fun.
That's so. I texted you when you were with your dad. That was fun.
Yeah, and you're no loose women, no heavy drinking or loose women now.
That is my favorite. Just the idea of saying it to a 6-year-old. Oh,
Dude, you know what? I'm gonna have John from Regular Hero print up those T-shirts that just say "No heavy drinking or loose women" now.
oh, you absolutely should. I would wear that every day. I'm grateful. I got to see. It was like I don't even know how to describe it. It's my male cousin when I was like 12 or 10, who was like my age now.
Oh, he must have been the coolest person ever.
Him and his brother were the coolest people ever.
Yes.
And him and his wife were out here. We got to have breakfast and talk about their kids, his daughters who are like my age, like they're like 10 and 11 now.
Oh, so now you get to be that cool person to them.
I wish. The problem, they live in Philly, so they live.
No way. Where?
I'm not sure where they live. A little bit. He lives in Philly because he actually teaches in DC. But then,
He takes the train every day.
yeah, well, 2 times a week.
That's genius.
Oh yeah, he loves it. But
Philly's the best. I want to get a house there.
right, and apparently he has a really cool house. But when I moved out here, they were really young, and I can't go back that often.
Yeah.
So I haven't got to see them as much. So I was feeling
Yeah.
a little bit bad, but I got
Yeah.
to see them. And then last night, I got to show Paula Animal House, which was huge for me growing up.
The best.
That was like my first movie with boobs. That was like my big.
greatest.
That was a kid. Yeah, that was the greatest for
And
me.
dude, John Belushi, man, you know, I'm grateful for John Belushi.
Oh, yeah.
He could do more with a look. Like, and here's, you know what you have to do if you're an Animal House fan?
Tell me.
You have to see that on the big screen. Because Belushi is even funnier. There's something about a movie appreciating it the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
On that larger than life.
Right.
Amazing. The way he moved his shoulders, he could just have a look in his eye, break the fourth wall. Amazing.
The cafeteria scene may be my favorite scene in all of movies ever. Just him going through the line, grabbing the food, and then
See, that's to me, okay, like right now I'm working on an idea for me, my buddy Robert, the strongman.
okay,
And that Belushi thing, if you were to be a script reader, that's not going to pop off the page if it's like John Belushi comedically picks out food in the cafeteria lunch line.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no matter how much you describe that, it comes to life because of the actor. It comes to life because of the director. That's one of the best scenes ever, and it's not going to translate on the page. You have to see it.
And it doesn't translate, like, it. To me, I felt bad. Like, Paula was laughing, but I was dying laughing, just being brought back to like the 8-year-old kid watching it.
Yes.
And then the see if you can guess what I am now.
See if you can guess what I am now.
That just
so great. Food fight. That boy is a pig. Pig. I loved Belushi. Like, when I went to college, I was like, that's who I'm going to be. I'm going to be Bluto Blutarski. And then that's why it was so great to have Bert Kreischer, because Bert is the real life Bluto.
right, yeah.
He really did spend like 7-8 years in college. And he talks about some of the parties he threw on this podcast. You have to, like, it's insane. Absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, I would.
Like, the biggest party animal in the world.
He hit an article in Rolling Stone.
Yes, I remember that.
Really?
I read that. That's what I told him. He couldn't believe it. And I remember reading it going, you know what? I'm going to be friends with this dude. I don't know how people can doubt God. Like, there are no, it's amazing. It's all so amazing.
I can't believe you read that article when it first
Yeah,
came
because
out.
my younger brother got a Rolling Stone subscription. I remember it for sure.
That
And there was something else good in that edition, but I remember that vividly. I think he might have even been on the cover or something. It was like, country's big. You know what? I'm going to Google that.
yeah,
I remember. I remember vividly.
that's
so
unbelievable.
cool.
Yeah, that I'm grateful that just for that, just that you like 20 years. What is it? 15, 20
years.
That's amazing.
Yep.
I'm grateful for magazine. I had a ton of magazine subscriptions as a kid. I had Game Pro. I had Boys Life. I had what else? I think those were the main ones. But I also liked what was Goofus and Gallant.
I don't know.
It was like the people
High Life magazine.
highlights.
Yeah, highlights. Yeah.
I was always I loved Goofus and Gallant, but I was always Gallant. So it was like,
My favorite was just finding the hidden objects.
oh, you like that one?
Yeah, where it was like, oh, there's a boot in a tree. There's the pirate treasure chest buried in the picnic table.
See, I'd get frustrated if I couldn't find all 8 of them or something. So that's why I went to Goofus and Gallant, because I was like, oh, I can just reading. I can handle reading. I miss
Magazines were, you know what was so great? And I'm not making this up.
What?
When I went to go visit my parents, my mom got me a wrestling magazine just for old time's sake. So great.
What was it like? Was it one of the ones that you read as a kid?
Well, kind of. Like, when I was a kid, wrestling magazines were the greatest. Like, it was like the internet that you could touch. Like, I remember my dad driving us into this, like, we would get excited to go into the city. It was like a field trip without teachers.
Right.
Especially if my mom didn't come. It was always more fun with just my dad. Because, like, we're going to get a sandwich, buddy, and nobody's going to hear about it. You know what I mean? Like, but then they would have these newsstands in the city, and you would see wrestling magazines that you just didn't even get in the suburbs. Like, I consistently would get a magazine called Pro Wrestling Illustrated, but then there'd be different ones and on the newsstand, and you'd have to, like, make a decision which had the best posters, which had the better articles. And then I would sometimes it would come down to which, there would be that classified section in the back of a lot of magazines, and I go, which one has the better ads? Like, my younger brother and I were fascinated with the military as kids. So there was a magazine called Soldier of Fortune, and they would have the best articles and the best, like, ads in the back. Would be like,
Is that where you could buy like a gun or like hire a mercenary? Or,
yeah. And that's all we would try to do.
And it was real? Was it like actually?
Oh, I definitely believe so. Yeah.
Do you think they had like fake magazines just to get like for boys? Like you could no way. Like, it's kind of like almost like reality TV. Like, they had like, here, this is all the stuff boys would love. You could hire a mercenary with a rifle.
Let's see if Chris could stand up to this guy.
That's a great idea.
Army Green Beret, Black Ops was the absolute best.
Because you had to send in like an order form. I remember I had an envelope from a magazine. Like, you had to send, like, it had to send in to get like it was CDs for me.
Yes,
and I actually put cash in it. Like,
Hilarious.
I put cash and I sent it out. Wow.
So much fun. And then what we really wanted to do, there was a kid that was friends with my older brother named Dave Spohr.
Okay.
And he was the first kid we ever knew to have a fireworks catalog.
What?
Yes. And we were like, how do you get a catalog where you can order fireworks? Because that was contraband. They're still illegal in Pennsylvania, but now there's a loophole, which is glorious. There's a loophole where you're allowed to sell real fireworks in Pennsylvania. Real ones. Awesome ones. But you just can't, you're not even allowed to walk in the store with a Pennsylvania driver's license. You need an out-of-state license to buy them.
No way. So
Yeah.
it's for people driving down, but they don't want.
Yes, but it's a loophole kind of scam because like fireworks are also illegal in New Jersey,
Right.
to the best of my knowledge. But you can have a New Jersey driver's license and show it to the person in Pennsylvania. They're like, yeah, it's not Pennsylvania. And state law says you just need to take them out of the state within 48 hours. So that's what people would do.
Because they're illegal in Massachusetts.
They're
too.
illegal everywhere pretty much.
Are they really? Okay.
Yeah, you got to go to cool, fun states like Texas or Alabama.
All I remember hearing was West Virginia. That was where when my town went
My
to.
dad would drive us. We would do road trips down to Virginia so we could get real firecrackers and skyrockets and
See,
stuff.
they did a good job with me. I'm still like, I just imagine if I touch a firework, my hand's gonna blow off.
Hilarious. Yeah, I was petrified of that too.
Yeah.
And then you know what? Honestly, Jason Pierre-Paul, when he blew off his
Oh,
fingers,
jeez.
I'm like, you know what? You
Poor
got to
guy.
be careful. Because like last time Ari was in town, me, Ari, and Renazizi, we lit off fireworks. And it is like the most fun ever. But then I was so afraid the cops were going to come because they were so loud. It was so much louder than I thought that I was like, don't run, just start to walk. Because there was one that broke. I know I told this story, but you know what? I'm going to stop myself. I'm grateful for fireworks.
I'm grateful for the fact that you can still play like kids as an adult. Like be worried that the cops are gonna come because of firework noise.
You know, my younger brother. I don't know if I should throw him under the bus. Well, a guy I know was a grown up, and him and his friends as grown ups, like well into their they may have been in their 30s,
Okay.
definitely late 20s, where they had taken advantage of another loophole where they were selling fireworks in Maryland, good ones. It was like a wholesaler where you walked in and they had stuff that you'd only seen in movies, like mortar shells, like giant boom, like awesome fireworks and really loud like skyrockets and whistlers and all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And these like giant repeater things where you light one fuse and it does like a whole firework, like the thing I lit off in China.
Right,
That sort of stuff. Where they were like at a, I don't know, they either were at a concert or like a bachelor party where everybody was like in a hotel and one dude had like a trunk full of fireworks and they were wasted and they started to light off fireworks and the cops came and they all ran. And then they were like hiding in the bushes as grown-ups. And then they were like, one of the guys was like, what am I doing? I'm 29 years old. Officer, I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. And popped out of the bush. And it was like, here, look, if you have to arrest me, understand I broke the law. If you want to give me a fine, that's great. But I'm not going to hide.
See, like I almost want to hide. Like his fireworks. No, he's not gonna get in real trouble, is he?
Oh, I think you can, for sure. I think you can
Really?
even go to jail.
Oh wait, then never mind. Sorry, kids. Like,
Yeah, you don't want to break the law.
No, I thought.
But, okay, I used to do this bit.
I
And
thought it was like a noise complaint.
I have to bring this back on stage because I used to do a bit back when I used to do all my drinking stuff. I used to do like I used to have an hour's worth of party material, and I just sort of lost it somewhere along the way. So I never recorded it, put it on TV, none of it. But part of it was getting in trouble sucks, but almost getting in trouble is the most fun thing ever. That feeling you have in your chest where you're like, cops, run!
Oh yeah, for me it was like I never even had the cops. For me it was just like my mom finding out would be
Yes.
the one that'd be scary. From like I never, and maybe that's why I thought it would be fun for fireworks because I never had to run and hide from the cops. I never like I went to a couple parties, but never like I think like once we were like the cops are coming, but we didn't even see the lights.
Yeah. It's just that feeling, like
You just
Yeah.
make it up in your head. You're like the cops are coming.
Yeah.
No one's called the cops.
exactly. It's so fun. Life is so fun.
I just like think like because you never really get to think about it that much. You're so focused as an adult on being an adult and doing adult stuff. You know, just to think about it for 2 seconds is just fun.
It is just thinking about, and you know what? this is a great adult gratitude piece of something I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the police. I'm grateful that there are brave men and women who every day put on a uniform where they know most people are going to not like them. Most people have an aversion to the police. They literally put their life on the line. They put their life on the line every day. They see the worst of humanity every day.
It's it's not only that they see the worst of humanity. I think it's like the everyday thing. Just the fact that you go back, and to me, forget about like now that some people are mad at them. Some people have aversion to them.
Yeah,
just their job is scary.
So tough.
Like that.
So
like,
tough.
Like, yeah, that's even because it was. I don't know. When I was growing up, I didn't feel like everyone had as much of an aversion to the police. I know people are scared when they get the cops driving behind them in the car because of a ticket or something. But I don't remember it being as like it is now. But it's. I don't want to be a police officer. It's scary.
No.
I don't want to have.
Well, I wouldn't be able to put up with it.
No.
Like everybody's like, "Oh, Steve, you're so nice. You're the sweetest person ever." No, I'm a human being too. And if every day people were in my face yelling at me, pulling guns on me, lying to me all the time, I would I'm not a good enough person where that wouldn't taint me. That wouldn't change the way I look at the world. And I'm very grateful for how I look at the world. That's the biggest blessing I have right now is my attitude and my perception.
It's very easy. I joke a lot that people get their spirits broken.
Yes.
And it's I mean, you would have to imagine that the police would too. And they
yes.
So in the same way, but they're just dealing with more. So when they're dealing and their spirit's broken, then they get frustrated more easily or whatever the case may be. But everyone gets their spirit broken in work.
I think we have to start like there's something about social media that's trying to put like the best version of everything out there, and everybody's like, I'm perfect. Are you perfect? I'm perfect. Are you perfect? I never get sad. Do you ever get sad? And it's like we have to start recognizing that we're human beings. Life is not perfect. There's going to be stuff that's almost impossible to deal with, and it is impossible to deal with on your own. So let's start relying on each other, forgiving each other, recognizing the brokenness in each other, and that we're all going to mess up. Like I could know the right thing to do.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I could have a game plan to go out and do the right thing, and I'll still mess up. I mess up all the time.
Do you ever do, like, you know how you said it's fun almost getting in trouble? Sometimes, like, I'll just get an idea to do something. I know it's the wrong thing to do, but even as a kid, I would do it. You're like, I'm not supposed to push this. I'm gonna push it. I'm gonna push it. It breaks, and then you're in trouble. You're like, but just like it's exciting doing something you know that you're not supposed to do.
You know what I do with that? This is the babyest version of that. I use my iPhone and I see how low the battery will go. And I'm like, I am at 1%. I am at 1%. And I'm like, and then I plug it in to make sure it doesn't explode.
Well, yeah, I do the same thing. I've never gotten out of procrastination. Like, if I have to be somewhere at 1:30, I'm like, it takes 8 minutes.
Oh, speaking of which, what time is it now?
2:15.
All right, I got to go. All right, I love you guys. Thanks for listening to the Good Times. Thank you, Lee. Go to awesomesteve.com. Use that Amazon link. I need the money. Thanks. Bye.
Good times go. Wherever the good times go. Yesterday was such an easy game for you to play. But then let's face it, things are easier today. Yes, you